tienes que pensar en tu hija.
The decision is we want all the amenities that possibly come from private investment in this area or not. I think it. Yeah, my business has been in this area for over 20 years, almost 24 years. I've been in Tampa for almost 30 years. And it's beyond me that for some reason, letting this area get ignored by the city of Tampa government. There needs to be a meeting, the mayor, the director of economic development, someone from this board, where you sit down and you say, this has to be a priority. It has to be put at the top of the list. And you need to express to the governor, you know, this area designated and it's being supported by the administration. This board takes the city a lot of money to run this group and to do economic development. And the truth is there has to be this extreme factor to do that. If we want development, if we want the area to grow, we will want the money to flow into this. We end up at the end of the day with, cutbacks, property taxes collected. This would be a lot less money flowing into this group. I'm not saying this just out of some self. There's so much potential. I have businesses every day who want to come here. But the truth is the economics make it very difficult to do this. We recently brought over 7 of them in the last 3 months. But, it's economically difficult. Depressing rents, making life very difficult. All I'm asking is little support. This group, make whatever motions you need. Have schedule whatever motion. If you need an emergency meeting of the CRA, reach out to the council. If you want an emergency meeting and you want them to reach out to them. But there just needs to be more pressure. You have a week. That's what the city is told. You have 1 week, and then they are making their decisions what areas are going to fall. I would appreciate anything.
We're gonna discuss that in detail when we get to old business, okay? We'll probably go over that. Anyone else that wants to speak about speaking to the event by yourself? Might want to hang around, okay?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Jones? Okay, glad my time. Go ahead, sir. Glad.
My name is Russell Spears, and I am the administrator of the Dr. Walter Government Library. I'd like to say thank you very much for your vote of confidence for last month's meeting and our pursuit of funding with the CRA. I wanted to come in front of you today and let you know that we have engaged with the CRA. Unfortunately, we were not able to be placed on the agenda for today's meeting. We have been tentatively scheduled again, as we're tentatively scheduled for this meeting, to be in front of you in January. There are several issues that we're working through, trying to ensure that we have all the prerequisite information that they are asking for. We believe that we have addressed those issues, and we had believed after our meeting that we would be able to come before you. Unfortunately, that has not transpired. We are working in spirit of cooperation with the city and with the CRA. We greatly appreciate the opportunity to get that vote of confidence from the CAC, and we look forward to moving our collective agendas forward, coming into the new year. Thank you very much for your time, and we appreciate your continued support.
Thank you, Mr. Spears. Is there anyone else that has public comment? 3 minutes, going one. Right? Is anyone online for public comment? Get Mike Van on there? Well, if he comes in, go back and give him his 3 minutes. All right, moving right along to public comment. So, has anyone has any look at time for the 21st, 25 meeting minutes? If so, I entertain a motion for approval.
But that I asked about housing grants. And I don't remember when I brought it up, but I just wanted to be reflected in the minutes that was brought up at our last meeting.
Okay, if you make a motion to approve the minutes with an amendment, I can accept that.
Okay, I would keep that. Right.
I'm making a motion to
I need
approve the minutes.
specifics. I need to know what.
Hold on. Let's get this point done. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
With an amendment.
Okay, well, I'm gonna get a second. Otherwise-
Several amendments, we have a couple of things.
Hold on. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? What is where it goes, following the procedure. If somebody makes a motion to approve the minutes, then you say it. If somebody seconds it, then we'll discuss it, and then we can amend it, whatever you want to do, but we gotta get it on the table.
Okay.
So there's a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Carl Perez. All right, is there any discussion? Go for it, Mr. Malone.
Okay, thanks. I just would like to make the minutes to reflect, I brought it up during during your report, I think, Brenda. When I asked about it, because I said that we had our good meeting just a few days before the CAC meeting, and all people wanted to talk about were housing grants. And you said, well, he's gonna be here next month, and we'll get more information then. But I just wanted, I want people to know that we're thinking about them when we bring up these.
Okay.
Did you have something?
Yeah,
Whoa. Are you done, Mr. Maloney? So you amended it to include that you had some statements you made about.
Said at our neighborhood meeting, that everyone was just interested in housing grants. There was no discussion at our previous meeting about housing grants, just commercial.
Correct.
And I wanted the minutes to reflect the fact that we, brought that up.
You need to put some housing.
Yes,
They should come forward from the Steve Parks.
yeah.
Okay. Anyone else have any amendments to make? Hold on, Mr. Maloney and then Mr.
yeah, looking at the minutes, I think I was virtual, which is reflected correctly here. But again, you have me with incorrect spelling of my last name on the public comment. That cannot be true. Right?
Oh, that's, yeah, I didn't classify that. Sorry. You're virtual. It says V.
Correct,
That means virtual.
right, I said that, I
Oh,
confirm.
you good? Okay.
But then,
Right, that, no problem. Thank you.
Okay, is that it, Mr. Maloney?
yes,
Okay, anyone else have any amendments to the notes of meeting? Mr. Lucia?
Yes, I just wanted to simply include the grants piece to specify, yes, while I'm frustrated about the grant program and how long it takes, specifically, it was the feedback from the community that I was speaking with that expressed their frustration, not just Russia being frustrated about the grant program and how long it takes. I think it's important to understand it's not just one person frustrated. There's a lot of people frustrated.
Okay. And I agree with that frustration. Is there any more members putting notes to me? And then we just, okay, let's go around the table. I saw Mr. Charles first and then Mr. Jones next.
We could update the CAC term date. I think I brought this up last time. I felt the market.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Jones? They're working on it over there, right?
I can't hear her, I'm sorry.
She said Mr. Mike Randolph is trying to get online.
I don't know, everyone gets, I don't know, we forwarded to them
Link.
twice, yeah, I don't know what, I can't, yeah,
All right,
I'm sorry.
okay. That's on his side. Here's the other thing. And then I'll call for the question. There is a problem with these social media. Okay? There's a problem. There's a problem with the tenant missing the old business and new business. Okay? There's a problem. There's a problem with the notes being getting on the website in a timely fashion with any amendments that are on it. So that's a problem. But I'm not gonna go into it tonight, trying to understand the holiday spirit, but at the end of this week, I'm not gonna be in the holiday spirit. So with that said, all in favor of the motion with the amendments, say aye. All opposed, say no. Motion passes unanimously. Let's keep on moving. Now that takes us to presentation. First presentation is from Freedom Park, 2101 West Main Design Kickoff. Chris Anuncia West, at the Nickwitz Place Making Design Studio. Is they here?
They are, yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead. You got it.
Good evening.
Y'all got 5 minutes.
Perfect. I'll give a little bit of an introduction before his time starts. Bryce Farringer with your campus CRA staff. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Chris Stevich with the Placemaker Design Studio. They'll be the firm who will be conducting the design services for the Tampa Park located at 2101 on West Main Street. Placemaker has conducted multiple successful projects for the Tampa CRA previously. Most notably was the Hubert Avenue Park project that is getting ready for construction in the next couple of months or so over in the Drew Park CRA. So the presentation is going to give you guys an overview of the project, our general approach, and then we'll go over some of the survey questions that we're getting ready to launch along with the public engagement session that we're going to be conducting on December 4th. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Stevich and we can dive right in. So
I'm sorry I missed your name. I'm just asking.
It's okay. Quick day is fine.
Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, committee members. I appreciate the opportunity to talk tonight. My name is Chris Anskevich, landscape architect. My address is 668 Lexington Street, Dunedin. And we are very excited to work on this project, and I'll get right into it. So whenever we get involved with the project, the first thing we like to do is understand the history a little bit, especially when we get involved with the public involvement project. If there's been any past studies, we like to look at those. So the first thing we did is, and I just want to briefly go over some of the past public involvement studies that we've done with the West Tampa CRA Strategic Action Plan, and then the West Tampa CRA Community Redevelopment Plan from 2015. Both of these have some information that relate to this park and parks in general. So some of the big picture relevant CRA goals and initiatives that we pull out of that include the public space initiative for the West Tampa CRA. 4.1 and 4.2 includes the increased public space, green space, and parks and to improve urban fabric, enhancing local sense of place and community pride, cultural integration, and surrounding small business stimulation. Other items we pulled from those studies include defining community character and establishing sense of place, creating spaces for everyday usage that draws more patrons to West Tampa, developing parks and public spaces that are fully integrated into the community, develop placemaking opportunities through possible installation of public art, parks, and open spaces, integrating cultural and historical venues that showcase West Tampa in a defined place. Finally, there was also some comments about a negative challenge with the perception of Main Street as an area that is not safe for shoppers. I understand this is now changing, and also parks listed as a community priority. Beautification was listed as a West Tampa Chamber priority, and successful marketing and branding should really showcase the history, charm, and location of West Tampa and encourage people to live, work and be a part of the community. So I just think it's important to look back at these and consider this as a framework that doesn't really define what the park will be, but there are definitely considerations here with respect to the park. And as a landscape architect who's been tasked with a public involvement phase to involve the public with the development of this park, we will be looking at site-specific public engagement for the site. And we're planning on having public engagement sessions to develop a park plan that reflects the community's needs, values, and goals. We'll have surveys and listening sessions prior to developing concepts. And the concept will be based on community input with no preconceived park programming. And then we'll refine a concept plan presentation with the public prior to a final CAC presentation. So, we really want to pull from the public what this program should be and not have preconceived notions. And then define what that demand is, and then go back and really test the site to see how many of these park components that the public wants can be fit on the site. So we're hoping to, in the end, generate a plan that's created by and for benefit of the people. So with respect to our overall project timeline, we're currently involved with a survey. The crew is actually out again this week, picking up more data. We're gathering background data such as as-built information from the cities. And then we have our initial listening workshop planned in December 2025. So that is coming up quickly, just a couple weeks. We will also have an online survey in December 2025. And then we're hoping after we gather input from the public to have a preliminary conceptual design presentation at a public workshop in February, March of 2026. And then that will be sort of the first time we actually put some pen on paper and we begin to test the site to see what can fit based upon the needs and the priorities set by the public for the park. And then we'd like to come back with another further refined conceptual design presentation to the CAC in April, May of 26. Once we have an approved plan, we would then proceed with geotech studies and construction document preparation. That's approximately 6 months. That would take us to October, November of 2026. Permitting is approximately 6 months. And bidding, awarding a contract, that's another 4 to 6 months. So we're looking at construction to begin in 2027. And so our first step, as I mentioned, is our initial listening session. We have that planned on December 4th. That will be our first workshop. The workshop will be at the COHAC, which is pretty much across the street from the site. The address is 2130 West Main Street. The time is from 6 to 8 p.m. We'll have online and in-person surveys. Those surveys are available to you in front of you. Everyone should have a copy of those. We do ask that if you have any comments on that survey, please let us know by the end of the week. You can let staff know if there are any changes needed, because we'd like to go live with that soon. And then we'll have image boards for discussion, basically to kind of facilitate the discussion. And we're hoping to understand the visual and programming purposes for the park from the public after this meeting and the survey data, and how best activate the park space. And to conclude, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to speak again, and we're really excited about working on this project. It has so much potential. Really appreciate the fact that there's so many layers of history in this corridor as well. So there's so much activity and new development occurring. But I'm happy to answer any questions or address any concerns you may have as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any questions, comments from the committee?
I have a question.
Just a minute. This is, I'm assuming involved. Mr. Maloney? No, and Mr. Lucille, Mr. Bonia, and then Mrs. Lucille. Okay.
Okay, I just wanted to find out, how are you going to launch the survey? What's the plan on getting this out to the community?
So we are working with city's public information officer for the portfolio of economic opportunity, which is what CRA falls under right now.
We're gonna distribute it to that list. I will send it to Ms. Thrower so that she can distribute it to you all, share amongst your own neighborhood organizations. And then we'll be posting it just generally on the CRA website as well. So we're aiming to get it out by early next week.
Thank you.
Okay, then those comments about all you.
Yeah, thank you, for the presentation. Listening to you, time frame wise. I heard you say 6 months, 6 months and 6 months. I mean, that you start construction 2027. So why is the actual planning or the construction document when you finish will take 6 months? And I don't think the permitting should take 6 months anyway. So in the process of developing the plan, what do you have in place to communicate progress with the community, and with the, CAC? What's the process here?
Well, typically what we do is, a 50, 90, and 100% submittal. So, what we did with some of our other parks is that a 50% construction plan point. We came back to the CAC and West Tampa on that project and presented the project just to make sure the progress is going in the correct direction. And to kind of find out if there were any comments with respect to the construction plans and how those were proceeding. And so I would expect that we would do something similar at a 50% construction plan point. We would come back to the CAC and you would have an opportunity to look over the plan, see how they're developing. At that point, they should look very similar to the approved concept plan, but we'll have more detail worked out.
And what is the community involvement here?
For construction drawings, there's typically not a lot of involvement. There's involvement up front. So during the development of the concept, that's when we really involve the public. And then with respect to just the timeline of the construction drawings, we've noticed with other park projects, there's other departments involved. So there's a lot of reviews from various departments from various cities, even as far as the city has their own ADA disability advisor, and they often have comments. So we work our way through various departments and they each need their own review time. And so that kind of just adds a little bit of time to construction.
Just take a look at the time frame again, because when you have it drag out, people tend to forget what's going on.
Understood. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Garcia?
Based on previous surveys, what kind of response you guys expect to get? What kind of response you guys expect to get on this? What's the goal as far as a number of people, and how long is the survey gonna be out there before you close the data?
I can say on our other projects, we had very good response online. And then, the unknown for us, well, at least my experience is a lot of times you just don't know how many people are going to show up at the meetings. And so we always like to have a survey at the meetings too, so people can write comments. But the online survey, I would expect, I'm guessing between 300 to 500 or 300.
For context, to send it out to, that's the goal. Yeah. In terms of responses, can I have that?
In terms of responses, we don't necessarily have a specific number that we're going for other than as many as possible. With this site, it's essentially a blank canvas. The only thing that is, we're 100% certain on is that it continues to be a park. That was one of the, main requirements that was actually written into the resolution. The CRA bought it a couple of years ago. So essentially, as many as we need, and it's just a blank canvas. So yeah.
Well, the fence that keeps what it's standing upright is a blank canvas as well. Some sort of a QR code that points someone to a survey.
Yeah.
Could be a good means of getting the community involved. They drive by it.
Yeah.
They see nothing network. So I'm wondering what's happening.
Yeah.
And that could be, an opportunity to get a little bit more engagement from the people in the community.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great idea. Thank you.
The first thing we gotta do is keep from falling on the ground. Okay, that's embarrassing. It looks like ghetto out there. Let's spend all that money to buy that block. That's unexcusable. Inexcusable. And give the right to have those so that we call the script, otherwise, all hell will break this. So from the January 26th, I'm going to in the business. All right, anyone else? Let's come, and then, and then Mr. Quinn, go ahead, go.
I just want to piggyback on Mr. David when he said I was concerned about the time when I got 2 years, 2027, we should have that was said.
Yes. Yeah, it was, right, for construction, for 2027, so we're looking to start early 2027.
Sorry.
Well, we will do our best to move things along quicker, absolutely, I understand.
I don't know if you do, because that's, we use that for community events, and right now, we really need that. People, and for entrepreneurship, people looking at all products. That was my idea of utilizing the park for the community. And I mean, 2027, that's a long time. Is there any way to be any consideration on that date? I'm just gonna think it.
Yeah, we'll work to see what we can do to speed that up. Now remember, it is the end of the year, so, 1 year from now, it's almost 2027. So it's not quite 2 years out. So we're gonna do our best. I hear what you're saying, and we will absolutely do our best. So some things are out of my control, I have to say, such as permitting, sometimes it's just permitting agencies taking some time.
Okay, Mr. Wait. The net, and then, Councilman Sparrow, goodness. It's been,
Yes. Well, I will echo both the comments about the timing, but I have a separate timing issue, and that's a concern about the scheduling of the meeting for December 4th and the survey or the rest. Community engagement is challenging enough, and then when you put it in December, I'm just a little concerned about that timing. I wish we could have it in a different month rather than compete with the holidays for people's attention.
Is that,
Yeah, but that's a good suggestion. Maybe we have one in December and one in January when people are more engaged.
certainly, so for the survey, we can have that live online as long as you all see fit. 2 to 3 weeks is typically standard, but we can leave it open longer if we need. The only flip side to that is the longer we're leaving the survey open, the longer it takes for us to incorporate any feedback that we're getting. With that same consideration, that was part of the reason why we wanted to schedule this workshop early December versus waiting until after the holidays, because we would be looking at, another 1 to 2 months after we were able to start. So with this project, it just happens to kind of fall where it does because of when we received the notice to proceed from contract administration. And we want to be as expeditious as possible. So just weighing those concerns is all.
okay, Mr. Ramirez.
Thank you for the presentation. Yeah, I understand. Usually our design projects are 18 months, so 2027, I understand. I think we need to get a commitment from the city department to be able to provide comments in a timely manner, permitting in a timely manner, because it seems like whenever it comes to a CRA project, it just keeps getting pushed. And that's my whole thing with getting on the schedule, because then we have a date that we can mail somebody to. With saying fall into a certain year or whatever, it's kind of hard to say, okay, well, this is, they're behind or they're ahead or anything like that. I hear all the time, I was on the meeting for the West River, and that was something that was brought up, is being able to get comments from the city in a timely manner. And I think we need to make West Tampa and these projects a priority to get everything done as quickly as we can. We can't be sitting on an empty lot for a long time. As Ms. Jones said, the community wants to do this, so let's push it on. And I know you'll be a part with our responses quickly, and again, it's up to the city to come back and approve those. So, I don't know how we can do that, how we can push administration to go a little bit faster, but I think that's what we've done.
Okay, anyone else?
Hey, Joe, hey, Bryce, I just want to reiterate what Jeanette said about that, maybe having a second, especially in early January, I think be really critical to we really do that. I think the holidays and that gives people 2 opportunities to come in person to give their feedback. But a lot of people do online surveys. They feel like they want to talk to you, see you face to face and be more. So
I mentioned where, James.
Yeah.
well, the second week, because then you get before, I'm thinking before MLK, that second week. Everyone should be back. And
Anyone else want to chime in? Okay, here's what I take it from. It don't take that long to do the show. Okay, we've already covered with the site and cleaning it. And here's the problem, the city parks department had a time to park. They have a standard that all the parks have to have, right? We went through this when we started looking at rate parks, in the park, so we got a standard that we use. So we don't want to get preempted by the standards over people within the community. That's an issue, so I'm gonna add something now. We know the city's gonna come with this standard design, they didn't wanna have a park, for all the amenities, every park's gotta have the same amenities. This was a good argument back in the day about bathrooms, not bathrooms, this, that, okay? And we saw some great things with bathrooms and CRA down in Fort Lauderdale, or West Palm Beach, that you can have somebody, one of the vendors, maintain the bathroom. So you have a vendor that's on site with a coffee, little shop, some little small coffee thing. They could be responsible for the public bathroom. You saw that done down in West Palm Beach, right, Mr. Stoller? So we need to get creative like that. Not come with this standard regular thing that we done dealt with South Sea is still under construction after 5 years. Great Park ain't broke down after 4 years. So we don't want this vacant lot that doesn't have anything to take attention. Because I know how the city operates. That's the first thing. The other thing is that you need to get some flyers and pass them out to the street people over there. Because they're gonna be the one using this park before anybody in this room. So those street people that you see over there that you think don't know that they know a hell of a lot more than what that park gonna have. Because I mean, in my opinion, I'm gonna have a Joe Ross and Domino. They don't take it straight up. But they need to have some street canvassing of the people that always hang around, that are gonna be people hanging in this park. You know, when people talking about they homeless and this and that, they ain't homeless, some people are mean, and they're gonna sit and play chickens and kill the day. So, just make sure those people that are in the parking lot, that behind the building on there, you know what I'm talking about. Just put some flyers over there with whatever you got, so that we can say we at least blanketed the immediate community of people hanging around. Okay, because they're gonna be the same ones that are gonna run over and take over, South Students Park as soon as it's over. The other thing is, I assume that this park will be gated. Because the city gate, will have control it at night, and only way to control it at night is to have that gate now, a gate system, just like South Students.
There's no step preference.
I'm just telling you.
Okay.
I'm just telling you, you know, you're gonna have a whole bunch of stuff going on. I think when we had, the big, back in 2012, when the people came in, Wall Street takeover people, they camped out at that part of that big park, so it's gonna have to be gated, okay, they have control. So I'm just giving you that input now. So other than that, let's move forward, but we need to have another session in January, okay, after the Super Bowl, whatever, in my opinion. But we need to have 2. We should have 3, but we should have 2. Just doing a survey is only gonna get the elitists. It's not gonna get the real people. Okay? Pilots of the license adjustments there and so on. So we understand that 18-month construction stuff on the design. We understand that. But we got a community that's hungry to get this moving. But this is another part, this is our 3rd part, and we still got to deal with Freedom Park, Fremont Lincoln Park, and Martin Luther King Park. Okay? But thank you for your time, and we appreciate what you're doing, and we got a great landscape architect. I got some background on it. They're very, very, very good. They look at your colors. Okay, let's move on down to agenda. Thank you very much. All right, next on the agenda is the West Tampa Alley. Lighting pilot, Jan Washington, City Mobility, 5 minutes. Mrs. Washington, where you at? Oh, Michael Randolph, can you hear us? Speak on. You're on mute.
Hello,
Are you there?
can you hear me?
Mike Randolph, say something.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, can we hear you?
Can you hear me?
All right, go ahead, Mike, you got 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to do a presentation that was done before the CRA council last week. The title of it is called Degentrification and Safeguards, a CRA strategy to prevent displacement. Keep in mind, degentrification is the opposite of gentrification. Align CRA investments with anti-displacement in West Tampa. The challenge. The CRA channels capital into underserved neighborhoods. But in Tampa, reinvestment is outpacing protection. Without safeguard, revitalization risks exclusion. What we know. According to predictive artificial intelligence, anywhere from 14 to 17% of displacement will occur in West Tampa within the next 3 years if nothing is done. The worst case scenario exceeds 20%, driven by speculation and weak policies. These trends threaten families, culture, and neighborhood stability. What works? Cities like Buffalo, Chicago, and Mississippi use data tools and German coalition to guide investment. They use risk maps and vulnerability strategies that get capital towards stabilization. Lessons learned. Data plus policies equals protection. Tampa can embody these safeguards into the CRA. Talking about the empowerment, the opportunity zone. The opportunity zone works too when paired with strong local policy. Inclusive zoning keeps housing affordable. Community ownership models help residents. Anti-displacement measures must be built in. Buffalo and Detroit already use these predictive analytical strategies to direct capital towards community stabilization. The West Tampa CDC uses a community benefit strategy by way of the Rome Yard deal that creates a work center and business center in West Tampa. We need to use these strategies as well as strategies around the country to stop the displacement that's going on in our community. Thank you very much, and I appreciate y'all giving me an opportunity to speak tonight.
Thank you very much, Mr. Randolph. All right, back to our agenda. We have West Tampa, Alleyway Lighting College, Mr. James Washington, 5 minutes.
So, good evening, everyone. Again, Bryce Barry here, the CRA staff. In coordination with the final presentation of the West Tampa CRA Alleyway Action Plan that came before you in September, along with the motion from this committee to prioritize the top 3 alleyways from that plan. CRA staff have been working with the TICO and the city's mobility department, compiling information, cost estimates, and install lighting in the selected alleyways. The memo in your guys' packets and the accompanying light service proposals include cost breakdown for each alley. The grand total on page 1 of that memo covers the installation and the ongoing maintenance of the lights until the CRA's district sunsets in 2045. With this being considered, you're seeking a motion to recommend a program change of $100,000 from the community policing account to the street, alley, and sidewalk improvements funding source to fund these lighting improvements for 1720, 1725, and 1830 as identified in the West Tampa Alleyway Action Plan. Ms. Jan Washington is also here to answer any questions that you may have about the proposal and process. So.
Okay, let's see, let's look at this. We'll do it, Ms. Washington. Let's say a few words about it.
Okay, well, you know,
We appreciate you coming out tonight.
I'm glad to be here. I gotta tell you guys, after many years trying to do the Toastmaster thing, at the funeral, I still want to be in the casket, not doing the eulogy. So I'm really here to answer questions and make comments and make sense of these numbers here and to make sure everyone's clear on what's happening and what do they mean. Because while this number is calculated by what we know today, we lease our lights from Tampa Electric Company, and those lease rates can change. Give you a little background. I've been here a streetlight program manager since 2004. Okay, so it's been over 20 years. The city leases about 55,000 units from TICO with a $10 million a year payment. Okay, so there's a lot of infrastructure out there. To put it in context, the city owns about 1,500 lights, mostly Ybor City. And then FDOT owns another 1,500. So your consideration or selection of Tampa Electric Company is codified in the municipal code where we ask that we lease our lights from Tampa Electric Company because the city's streetlight department is mid. Now, last year, it's a little, we had a little organization change, but last year, noticing where the utility was changing, I did put a recommendation for us to go in and have a little small streetlight department, 1 through 2 guys, to kind of see what our future is going to be. So we do have a small in-house crew as of last year, but they just maintain 1,500 lights, and we're not trying to expand that footprint just yet. We got to figure out what we want the future to look like. So right now, as the municipal code sits, we ask that you use Tampa Electric Company. For these alleys, in specific, these 3 alleys, they might be built differently than the other 6, okay? But for these 3, we have an alley where 4 post stops, they're gonna look very much like the post stops that are out in front. We call them the West Tampa streetlight because back in the day, do you remember Earl Hogglebook came up with that? Very few people in Tampa has that particular setup. What's beautiful about that fixture is the pole is concrete with a fluted bottom. And if you think about the old school back in the good old days, lights were either made of concrete or cast iron. So that's what makes it unique in Tico's product offer. They have very few right now, and that's something we hope to work with them on, to have more variety in a context where we can count on a stable payment. And that's what we have here. Tampa Electric goes to the Public Service Commission and sets and presents to them their costs and their controlled profit as a monopoly as to what they can charge you for the lights per year. And so on your handout, you'll see the annual payments, invoice times 12. What it is on this paper here is per month. That's what they're charging you per alley. So each alley, we looked at it from a design perspective, we designed it as if it was a regular road. Each one of those alleys would require 4 of those post stops out there. So on an annual basis, again, we're just leasing those. We do not own the fixture. The way the rates used to be calculated, and I say used to, the utility company may have pivoted the way that they do business. So we're trying to learn more, but for the most part, just going back, you know, from when I used to work at Tico in the lighting department, the way the rates are designed is that you pay for those for 20 years, and pretty much after the 20 years, they're pretty much paid off because the fixture is no good. You see what I'm saying? And then a new fixture gets come in. So that rate is understood that after 20 years, that fixture is paid in full. So when you see the cost of 2,953.16 for a year, if you multiply that times 20, that would be the cost of ownership. You know, if you bought it outright. In the municipal code, there are 2 options. You can either pay a lump sum, which is 20 years, for what we have here, which is a 10-year arrangement. And this is what most CRAs choose. If you were a private, and I hope I'm not going into detail, I'm going into detail, Brenda. Are y'all following me, please? I'm just trying to speak, okay? Okay, because I'm just talking. If you were a private person that came into the city, like say you are a developer, right? And I'm developing this property. We take that monthly fee that you see there, multiply it by 240, they'd have to give us a lump sum payment. Since you're a city of Tampa family member, and because we pay per month or annually $10 million a year, and with every lease with Tampa Electric Company, we have to agree that we're going to keep it installed for 10 years, half its life. And so what we do with the CRAs, instead of having you pay, like it says in the lump sum calculation for 20 years, we ask that you pay monthly for that full 10 years. Okay, and after 10 years, if you disappear, then the money or the obligation falls on mobility and becomes part of the regular streetlight bill that we pay. So this is the cheaper option. You don't have to pay $240, you only pay monthly the 246 or annually, however you guys do it in your budget. Okay? Now, there is this thing called upfront, the CIAC fee. That's a contribution and aid construction fee. The rate that Tampa Electric charges us is supposed to be everything. The installation, the lighting, the design, the maintenance. All you have to do is call them, you see it out, and now with the technology in theory, the fixture itself will inform them that the light is out. In theory, it's not quite there yet. So that has always been a worry of ours, to put a lot of stuff in the alleys. We're paying every month, but they're not working because nobody's calling, right? Because they don't know they're out. In theory, they have that technology. It's supposed to be notifying you, but I would recommend that you can take a look out and can call. But the rates assume that when the lights are installed, they took a machine trencher, and dug up the earth, put the conduit in, etc. Today, because there's so much underground utility and because of a host of reasons, Tampa Electric now does directional bore. They directional bore the conduit in. That CIC fee is the cost difference between the confidence of machine trench and directional bore, and they need that up front to make them whole. So that's why there's only a one-time CIC fee. And unfortunately, we're not as a city in a position to evaluate if it's fair or not. They're not, okay? And that's something to do why we restricted the option for the LS1 tariff, because at least the rates every year are monitored by the Public Service Commission. And I say that when I go and talk about the 12, it's 2009-6316. If by chance Tampa Electric went to the Public Service Commission tomorrow and said, you know what? We're gonna up it by 10%, then that would be the new number. So the benefit of paying the lump sum up front is you pay it, and then, mobility has it, you paid it, and then we just bring it as part of the inventory. The downside is of going to 10 years, and if they have a rate change, then the new fee, I think, you know how we did that with Drew Park, same thing, okay? Tampa Electric used to be very conservative with their attention at the Public Service Commission, and hopefully that will continue. So that's pretty much all I have.
I think, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, and so Mr. Leon here, I see Mr. Jeanette, and I see Mr. Long.
Yeah, thank you for that presentation. Now, when you guys contract with Pico, how do they determine what type of lighting to install?
That would be me. They have one tariff, the LS1 tariff, and it is presented to the Public Service Commission, and they have different fixture options. And because I'm familiar with West Tampa, I picked a fixture that's common to your community to give it some kind of connectivity. They don't have much variety. I believe you guys got the prettiest in the book. It's one of the more expensive ones, so.
Yeah, but I'm actually referencing, security, so that's the reason why we put light in the alleyway, right?
Yeah.
So do they comply with the SEPTA principle, crime? Yeah.
That's a good question. For example, environmental design does require specific lighting level, and what we did is we designed the systems to meet as if it was on a local street. That's how we just determine a lighting level. And these three alleys will be done with the post tops. Some of the alleys, as we go forward, might actually be us putting lights on the wood existing with poles. And I would tell you, Frontier did me a favor on these three. These alleys had Frontier poles in them, and they had permits and everything to be there. And I was able to get with Mary Ann and say, hey, we gotta do something for this West Tampa. And they rerouted the system and took their wood poles out so that they would just be these post ups.
Yeah, if I'm paying for the lighting, we're paying for it.
Right.
I would like for it to meet that requirement to make sure that it's satisfactory, with.
It does meet
relation to that security concern.
Okay.
The uniformity of the light, the minimum level of illuminance,
Right.
and the fixtures must reduce glare. You don't want them to just put stuff over there that you go through. And you want to make sure the entire alley is lit, right? And you wanna do it at the entrance, at the corners, recessed doorways, trash enclosures. So what I'm saying, I mean, when we contract, when I say we, you guys contract with them, what is the scope of services? I mean, because if I'm paying for something, I must make sure that it's satisfactory to my requirement.
Proposal, there was a design, he didn't print it for you. It showed where all 4 lights were going to go.
I know, but just because they have 4 lights doesn't satisfy the requirement.
Yes, it does. It satisfies the average to men, uniformity and the average foot count that you would need along a local
It
road.
doesn't comply completely with except that person.
September is just as light. There is no.
Yeah, so how do we know if it doesn't bring this glare and it's not?
Now, Blair's another thing that we're working with Tampa Electric Company. The Florida Department of Transportation recently changed their position in the last 2 years on glare. Lights should be mounted at least 20 feet high to avoid glare above the roof of a car. These lights are 13 feet. They're more intimate, but I'll tell you, the lower mounting height will do better because this is with a pilot. There definitely will be trespass. And once the lights go in, we cannot take them out, but no, that's it.
Mhm.
And so these being mounted at a 13-foot mounting height, from a design perspective, the glare is there. Any 13, all the light post stops that TPO puts in today, all are glare. They don't meet the FDM, okay? But from the application that you guys are looking for, they're a better choice because they're lower as opposed to being 28 foot on those wood poles. I talked about the frontier poles that came out, because the first design was cheaper, but it was mounting on those frontier poles, would have been higher, which the light would have been more on private property. Okay, these are lower, they're mounted at 13 feet, they're a lot more comfortable. When you go out today and you're looking at these pictures, you can kind of get a sense of what they're gonna look like.
Okay. Made it feel satisfied, but yeah, I'm concerned about it because, make sure that nobody's hiding through the alley, can't find them. The glare
exists, but right now there's no lights.
Yeah,
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Owens?
no, thank you, Ms. Washington.
Just a clarification, when you say it's like the ones out, those are the historic looking decorative poles that exist currently on Howard Avenue.
They're in this parking lot, I pulled up right in
Yeah.
front of it. Yes, that is correct, on Howard. That's
Okay, so it's the same things we put in 20 years ago or whatever we did it.
right. And that's for these 3 alleys. Now, as we move forward, we might do a different treatment in the other alleys. The intention of us doing this one is for everyone to see it. It's in a safer place. The complaints about light trespass on neighboring properties, because these lamps were built for roadways. So they're gonna throw light at least 20 feet in front of them. These alleys aren't 20 feet, which means they're on private property. We really don't have a trespass ordinance at the city. It's more like a nuisance type of thing. But what I'm suggesting, if you guys say it gets in, you get a lot of complaints, TICO is gonna want 10 years worth of payment. So if they, we don't want any of these lights, take them all out. You still gotta pay this payment upon request, $98,627.
I guess what I'm thinking is, we're gonna do these alleys. We don't have the design yet or the concepts. In other words, the lighting normally would be all part of that overall design, the aesthetic, so it matches, so to speak. I mean, I like the historic lights, but that's my only concern is that normally you would do it as part of a more comprehensive design plan so that everything complemented each other.
Well, we have, like, obviously, Seminole Heights, we had Seminole Heights shooter a few years ago. We've got quite a few people are doing alleys today, right? So we have a security issue now. So to this point, crime prevention through environmental design is a priority. Get this done, who knows, 3-4 years down the road, they have to swap them. They may be a minor fee. We don't know what people would do. We just have to have a commitment. for
That's
this,
the maintenance.
right?
Yeah.
So you can, I thought. once
You can't, once they're in, you never know what the future is, but I'm just saying.
You can't swap them. They're there once you.
That is true. That is true.
Mr. Maloney.
Okay, was it Charlie Munger who said, don't ask your barber if you need a haircut. I mean, there's no way to get any other bids from anybody else, because the city has a contract with Tico.
You're singing my,
And has there been any investigation toward alternative energy sources like solar or?
absolutely.
So what, yeah, so we have,
You have
hear
a
about
good-
that.
You make a very good point. We have a relationship with Tico for 145 years.
145 miserable.
Well, and next time, we'll be looking at franchise agreement, and I get contacted by light vendors all over the country with innovation, lights that can talk to you, lights that can monitor things, gunshot detection. There is so much out. It's like your cell phone today. A long time ago, it was just a phone call. Now it's a computer. That's what lights are.
Yeah.
And in fact, the street lights that we're putting in are kind of out of date. If you go to Midtown, new lights, the ones that don't have the glare, the dark skies friendly, environmentally friendly, have no glass. There's no refractor. They're recessed. We want that eventually, okay, but we're not there now. And that is one of the things that every day I send an email saying, let's look at other alternatives. But today, the way the municipal code reads, the city of Tampa works with Tico, their LS1 tariff, this is the best that we have for right now.
I just can't accept that. I'm sorry. I think that's.
You would not, you didn't call me. We really should.
I like, and thank you for your information. It was really interesting and great. It just seems like we are committing to, something that we don't really want necessarily. We don't even know what it is exactly. And I mean, you do, but.
We're in at 55,000 units, 10 million a year. Another $3,000 a year is a drop. The whole strategic plan, long term, I'm hoping that this will be part of it.
$3,000 here, $3,000 here. You're talking about real money. So, there's that, and then there's environmental aspect as well with the, dark sky issues and the, where's the power coming from? How is it being created? I'm frustrated with,
Welcome to the real world. Miss, is that it, Ms. Maloney?
I'm done.
Is anyone else?
Washington,
This is
great to see you.
good to see you.
I've been working with Ms. Washington for a lot of those 20 years.
Yeah, right.
A lot of terms are being thrown out just for the benefit of everybody to understand. But we're talking about glare versus dark sky. For me, glare is daily movement. So when a car is driving on the road, the way the light hits the dust, it creates a glare and hard for you to see. Those types of levels are for roadways.
That's right.
Collector of arterial hydrants, not necessarily for a low-speed alleyway, which is what we're talking about here, or pedestrian walkways. Those don't apply. Dark sky is the amount of light that is going above the horizontal of the light. So when we're talking about the recess lights in Water Street, there's no way for the light to escape and go up. That's different. Those two things are very different things. Traffic path. We're not talking about somebody breaking the house. We're talking about the light going into somebody's property. I don't know if these granular pictures have house type shields. But that would only block one side and not the other. I think a lot of them are talking about the trigger have something, but I think it might be something that can break out.
Our
Okay.
people still get upset, we
Gotcha.
try, yeah.
But I did see that you have 3K lights out there. So the 3K lights are not the medium LED, they're working lights. They're more orangey yellow, so it's more natural light. We've installed the new LED lights all over the state, and we get complaints from the white light because it goes far. And that's kind of the glare with some people. When we get complaints from customers, like I should look there from the light is like half a mile away. It's coming through. So when you change the color of the light from white to this yellow orangey color, it's not as obstructive. People don't seem to get bothered by that. So I like that. The 16-foot pole, I like that it's pedestrian scale. Going back to what we were talking about, having it go in hand with a design for the alleyway. As a lighting engineer, I can tell you that lights have to go where they have to go in order to meet the uniformity and lighting level. It's more like design has to work around that. So that's what I'll say about that. Solar, because we're in alleyways, and I like, another reason why I like the lower lights is because we have a lot of trees that are overhead. Solar is challenging when you put it in an alleyway where there's a tree active, because the sun can't get in and you can't charge your battery. So I think in these situations, powering it is the best. You mentioned directional bore, which is fine, and I guess these are direct area poles, because there are a lot of sewer lines going through the alleyway. But if we're removing the wood poles and putting it in the same place, then that kind of solves a lot of the problem. Or in the same alignment, then that solves a lot of problem. I'm very excited about this.
Me too. You guys asked me this about 7 years ago, and Tico turned the job down because it was not passable. So the fact that you guys have done so much improvement, they really came together, Frontier and Tico, and said, we're going to say yes this time. So.
That's great. That's good hope for us, because there's a lot of alleyways that have Frontier goals and the ultimate.
They did that for this.
So the fact that you said they did it for you, we're gonna have to put them on team. So you can talk to them next one. But no, thank you so much. I'm all happy about it. Thank you.
Anyone else want to chime in? Mr. Wilson?
On this question, thank you for your presentation. I'm excited. Like following Carlos. Well, so I think most of you guys know I live off the one that.
You're quick tonight. What is the night behind his back though?
Well, my background is
Don't see how it
already,
goes.
it's already lit, so I'm not worried about that. But coming down the alley at night, it is completely dark. And then having it, so I have to turn on my high beams, make sure there's no one in the alley or anything like that. So from a safety perspective, I think it's going, I
agree.
It's tremendous. And I think, it'll definitely stop the dumpsters coming through at night, dumping Christmas trees, couches and all that stuff. So trust me, there's so many benefits to this. So I totally agree with that. I think once at the end, the positives are outweigh the negatives. So when folks really do complain, you're going to have 10 times more people saying thank you.
Well, I don't know, a lot of times people complain, they're the ones that call, the ones that like that they don't see, and that's what I am concerned about. So we talked about that we want to do notices beforehand, but that typically doesn't work. You only know it until the light's out there and people.
I can say that one person on alley that would complain is probably not doing the right thing. So
Let's move on. Anybody want to chime in? Here's what I feel about this, okay? Bottom line, this is a pilot project. Number two, we got one residential alley. The rest of the alleys are gonna be commercial. So anybody who's planning for commercial. There's only one residential alley at the east end. Okay, the one on the behind it. So there's only one residential alley of lights, which I would say is enough lights, but the question I have is, we have alley access, grid access in West Tampa, we're pushing for. Not defined. I understand said there's some not. So I just want to make sure whenever they do this placement of these permanent poles for 10 years, that they don't block somebody being able to get into the driveways.
So that was taken into consideration.
Okay, that when y'all laid out,
Yes,
so y'all can serve that alley.
yes.
There's
Pictures, you can share them. with
okay, so
me.
y'all already done that, so y'all have design.
Yeah.
And these come to based on design. And then 16 foot, you said 13 foot, so there's 16 foot. What I see in here, I said 16 feet, not 13.
Oh, that brings
That's the memory height.
So when you say 13 from ground level to center light or top of light. This is 16 foot.
It's 16 foot there. I have to double check. I think it's.
If it's 16, it probably does. I mean, these it'll be the same height as these.
Same height as those outside.
So if I go out there and measure, now put it
Yes,
in
the
the same height then.
It's exact picture.
All right, now who doesn't make it so these lights?
Tico.
So they're gonna have a number on, so you can call it in.
They own and operate, yes.
So that's what is, some of them have a number, most of them have a number, but we got 4 purple ones, right? Now, ain't nobody called in, so obviously that system about Tico knows the light ain't right, but it's 4 purple light on house.
If you don't complain, you take the purple, they'll leave it out there.
So we just have to call in, get purples going, so if these go out, like one, there's a gunshot, I keep trying right there on Walnut, this shot out, it stays out, so that they don't shoot it out every time it's good bad. So we'll call Tico and say, come replace the light.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
That's how it works. They own
Okay,
and
I think this is a pilot, and I think it's a good pilot. It goes along with us doing the alleys with a pilot. So let's just go ahead and see how it works out, and let's be like we always are. We over here, we're not like East Side, we make stuff happen, although they got the alley lights. So they got this place for their alley lights. Any county?
Tampa. I know there's quite a few in Seminole Heights, but I'm not sure.
Like I said, East Tampa don't have an alley lit up.
I don't,
So who got alleys lit up?
Seminole Heights,
Sometimes what style do they use?
the wood poles and put a light on the wood pole.
That's old school.
So,
No.
yeah, fold down.
Okay, but with that said, then I'll entertain a motion. If you want to make a motion, please go to page on, the next complete. If you want to make a motion to approve this, go to page. 4, 6, page 6 on the back of the motion.
Mr. Chairman,
So that's the minutes.
I make a motion to recommend approval of the program change of $100,000 from the community policing account. That's the number. It's street, alley, and sidewalk improvement account to fund lighting improvement and alley numbers 1720, 1725, and 1830 as identified in the West Tampa CRA alleyway action plan.
Is there a second to that motion? Seconded by, close time between these. I think Mr. Long started Jackson. Second by Mr. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mrs. Parson. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Nice, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Washington.
All right, move right along on the agenda. Yes, but we're setting, so we're gonna set a pace, because we're like one of the first ones to do these lights in the CRA. Unless someone next to the CRA. All right, CRA housing presentation. Parts, I don't see this part.
It's gonna be virtual.
You on the line, so you heard me talking about, heard Mr. Maloney's talking about housing. Okay, let's roll with it. We got housing presentation.
Hold on
5
just a
minutes,
second.
please.
I'm sharing my screen.
Are you gonna share it?
Yeah, I have it shared. Can you see it?
Hold on just a second, please.
Okay.
Is it in our handout as well?
You do have the handout, the full presentations in your package.
Absolutely.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, and I kind of see it that it is up. Alrighty. So let me just start. B Parks, Community Development Coordinator for the Tampa CRA Housing Division. So let's just start. If you tuned in last Thursday, you seen that this is actually the same presentation that I presented in front of the CRA board last Thursday, where I collected additional feedback. I got some more guidance on a couple of different factors, and I'm diligently working to kick off these programs. So let's start here really quickly. I know I only got a set amount of time here. So let's move into the survey results that were launched. So we launched a community survey on September 26th. The survey included 12 questions related to housing needs, funding cycles, evaluation criteria, and community involvement. The survey included a section for additional input on the housing programs, and we received over 90 responses on that survey, in addition to additional feedback that was actually provided throughout the last 2 years, honestly. So it's been a lot of feedback. So just a quick answer here as we move forward. The importance of workforce housing, as you know, very important. So 80% of the responses indicated a strong support to address the rising housing costs, the neighborhood stability, and access to ownership and rental options. And that was the direct feedback from the survey that's posted right there. So this is the question that I posed to the board. Okay, so originally the board wanted almost like a first come first serve type of feedback system, which means that someone comes in, a developer who wants to pitch a project, they just fill out a simple funding application, they come and present in front of us, we scrub the application, then we go ahead and sign them up to present in front of this body, the CAC, where you guys, give your feedback and then motion to approve to move forward. You went through that similar type of system when Domain Homes went in front of you guys in for the homeownership project. So in retrospect, the CRA board was like, okay, let's look at a formalized structure, which is what I proposed in the beginning. So now we're moving forward with the funding structure. So over 60% of the respondents did support 2 application cycles per year. And then in addition to supporting the 2 applications per year, they also supported to outline opportunities for small scale developers. So they stated that they want to separate large development from small development to provide additional funding for smaller homegrown developers to build in their backyard. So that was actually good to see. So when we asked what was the most needed housing types, so what type of housing do you feel are most needed in your community? Number 1, they asked for affordable homeownership opportunities. So the community responded and said, we want homeownership opportunities, which, West Tampa was actually the first to launch a pilot program currently with Domain for homeownership opportunities. Secondly, they wanted some workforce rental housing opportunities. They wanted to see mixed income units and family size units. So a lot of applications that come our way are for those 1-bedroom studios, 2-bedroom max. But the community is saying, hey, we need 2 to 3 bedrooms or more if possible. If you see on the left side below, those were the options that were given. And again, workforce housing is up to 140% AMI. So it could serve to stimulate the economy, basically. So this was the second question that I wanted feedback from the board, and they provided me feedback. So, back in September, I proposed the selection committee. So formulating a selection committee that will review these applications and then propose moving forward for presentation and CRA approval. So the question simply states each CRA will have a 5-member selection committee, including representation from CRA staff and HCD staff, which is Housing Community Development Department staff. In your opinion, which stakeholders or representatives should fill the remaining 3 seats? So number 1, CAC member. Okay, so they asked for representation from this body, which again will formulate how that's done. We're thinking the chair, but then the body can kind of elect who might be a subject matter expert out of the group to represent on that board as well. So they asked for a CAC member, and then they wanted subject matter professionals to be involved. They wanted, again, a community stakeholder, which again is residents, and then other, which is again community member. So either a community organization, a business who represents that specific district. When the board gave their feedback last Thursday, they just basically said, hey, let's have 2 CAC members represent on the committee. So they did acknowledge that the CAC member could be that resident as well. So not only is there a, the chair that can represent, but another resident that also represents that community could be shown. So again, it shows that resident representation matters. So the other feedback that's collected amongst this was, please share any additional feedback, concerns, or suggestions about the unit creation and conversion program or other CRA housing initiatives. So feedback collected, qualified developers. They want qualified individuals to be building these housing. Number two, make the application process clear and simple. So that's what formalizing that funding cycle with that selection committee and that award process will make that process clear and simple. Then some individuals from the community stated community land trust, which again is not really to encourage it. The CRA board doesn't really want that. It's only probably one that we can gauge the interest of that, but that's just another tool in the toolbox to produce affordable housing. And then the fourth feedback collected was ensuring proper monitoring. I'm happy about this because we do have a current system in place that's used for our down payment assistance program, a third party component that monitors our programs and make sure that they're number one owner occupied, they're complying with all of our regulations and guidelines, and they're actually paying their taxes and their insurance. And then number 5, again, keeping developers accountable. So this was another segment that wanted to be explored also from the community, and is how are we scoring these? Are we giving extra points for these different themes? So the first one is income. So income is very big. How do you want income to be represented? So income priorities are by ranked order here. So number 1 is serving moderate income households, so the 50% to 80% area median income. Number 2 came in as serving the lowest income households, which is at like that 30% AMI, which I would say that Tampa Housing Authority does this very well. They serve that very low bracket, so it kind of helps with gauging that. And then number 3, I would say serving workforce households is that 80% to 140% AMI. So they do want to see more go into that 50 to 80% AMI pot. So developer experience in ranked order. So number 1 is supporting small scale developers, so under 20 units. That was one of the biggest responses that I got with looking at developer experience. And then number 2, supporting developers with strong experience / capacity over 20 units. And then another experience that they want to kind of score upon is creative out of box projects. So not only your regular single family household, but what could be created, any container housing, any type of ADUs, any type of 3D printing. There's a lot going on in the affordable housing field. So they want to look at out of the box scoring. So last portion of the scoring criteria would include the project characteristics in rank order. So what would you like to see in these projects? So number 1 is what I love to see actually is ensuring mixed income housing options. As you know, you need a little bit more flexibility and higher incomes in the areas to ensure that, it's moving economically. So number 2 is the proximity to jobs and transportation. And number 3 is adding community serving spaces such as retail, green space, etc. And then number 4 is ensuring energy efficient units. So again, the community responded that they would like to have these with extra scoring points in that scoring criteria to make sure that these projects are representing all of these elements. So some emerging themes that we got from the survey is number 1, resident representation matters in project review. So my proposed solution to this is having representation on the CRA selection committee. So that's either, an additional CAC member to represent, the resident in, that, committee. The number two theme is the man for family size units. So this is, the proposed solution for that is to ensure that all that this criteria, that the community wants to see will be included in upcoming requests for proposals that will be coming out of our division. And then the third one, we could do much better with this, and I'm happy that we're moving forward to kind of get more assistance, is to desire for ongoing updates, which is making sure website is the project updates are on there. And then we have a GIS mapping page that we already inputted 23, 24 numbers. We're going to put FY25, and then we'll make that public for everyone to see what district, neighborhood, and dollars are expended in each one of those districts. So it's, you can drop a pen, look up at the data, and you're able to see how many dollars went into that area. So I'm excited for that. So this was the initial proposed process that I pitched to them in September to the board, which was a formalized application cycle and then a selection committee. So again, identifying scoring criteria per CRA, and then establish a selection committee of 5 members. So the board was very receptive with that, and they asked me to move forward with both of those directions. So the timeline and next steps is incorporate survey results and CAC feedback and community input into the final proposed process. Develop the final program document to include the application evaluation criteria along with the funding cycle timelines and eligibility thresholds. And then in January CRA board meeting, staff will present the final proposed process for discussion and approval. So here goes the timeline. So we already kind of in this public comment period, which is from November to December. Again, visiting the CACs again. Final presentation of approval January 8th, which I present in front of the board. And then we're looking, fingers crossed, all well, that we can start February with the primary funding cycles with all available funding. So any questions?
Anyone have any input? Okay, let's start with Maloney, so you hand first to Mr. Maloney, and then Mr. Wilson, and then Mrs.
Ivy, thank you for your report. I'm kind of baffled, really. This was not what I expected you to come bring to us tonight. I'm looking at a process by which people who want to fix up their houses can get help from the CAC, or through the CAC from the CRA. I think we have, you talk a lot about developers and this, I'm talking about homeowners, individuals, people who who are on fixed income or who have retired or who have encountered a disability and they need to make modifications in their home. Or, their roof got blown off in the last hurricane, whatever. That's what I thought I was signing up for, to help people do that through our grant program. I thought that was what our grant program was supposed to do primarily. I know that it's great to have theories about affordable housing but I do think the private sector does a pretty good job of managing that. And that's on the city as well to monitor those developers and keep them. But we voted to give private developers like $750,000, and we have not approved a single grant for an individual homeowner. What's going on here? I don't get it.
Can I answer that?
Ms. Barnes.
Can I answer that, Mr. Joe?
Yes, please do.
I'm sorry for the confusion. our rehab program is up and running. I have 3 clients from West Tampa. I am now expending 140,000 so far on those 3 clients. So I've dropped the link to the application. This is online. I expressed this to the managers, to the director. Everybody knows from our management staff on this link on how to apply for my housing, rehab, and renovation program. We provide up to 150,000 to make repairs for owner occupied units. Okay, right now, owner occupied. I am still working on pushing through the rental portion of it, the vacant properties and the individuals who are low to moderate income that currently live in their properties. But this is the housing, rehab, and renovation program is open. It's open for business. I'm currently managing 3 West Tampa properties right now. Okay, it's not as fast as East Tampa. I completely apologize. They're busting down the door on the east side all the time for residential. But the owner occupied rehab program, which if you click the link in the chat, and I can send this out again to Brenda can send it to everyone so you can forward it to people. Individuals are able to, number 1, verify that their property is located in the CRA, because we can only fund CRA properties. Number 2, check the income eligibility. And right now, I am just going to share what I'm looking at so everyone can see. This is the housing, rehab, and renovation program that is the CRA's owner occupied rehab program, not the city of Tampa's, the Tampa CRA's owner occupied rehab program. When you stroll down, it gives the program summary, who's eligible to apply, what's eligible, the application process, which includes looking up the property, verify that your property is within those limits, then going away, check your income eligibility, so they're able to view how much they make to make sure they're under the program, and we help with this. Complete the application. So as soon as you click on this button, it will take you to the Neighborly website where they will go ahead and create an account and submit an application for the owner occupied rehab program. Then this part is when we'll get notified, and then we'll go ahead and contact them. So as of last Monday, I have a staff member. So right now I'm just 1 person short of having my team. So I have a new specialist, Latasha Hicks. She has been working for the city's housing department for years, overseeing this program so we can move quicker for these units, number 1. And number 2, I'm going to be getting my tech. I have a finance person now on board. So things are going to look different from me, because right now it's just been me doing all of this. But Ms. Mahoney, we have an active rehab program, and this is it. It's called Housing Rehabilitation and Renovation Program.
Let me ask you a question. Where do we track that at on our grant chart? Is that on this grant?
No.
Huh?
No.
And
that will be
They said the
I can send that.
I didn't understand. Do we track it on this grant bank, so track all the grants? Yes or
That's
no?
commercial only.
Huh? This commercial only?
Commercial.
So where do we track the housing?
B will send me the link.
Well,
I've been sending it to y'all. I think it's just not
do we track the housing,
Yes,
HR? I thought we
Yes.
both doing that.
yes, she's tracking it. Yes, and I can get it out.
I want to see that report every time I get this. I thought we were doing that. And then it dropped off the chart. So where is it? Track it?
Yes.
So
I need
why
to get the
did-
link from B
So why don't we have it here tonight if we're tracking?
because it's not, it just got left out of your pocket. I got
That's
you.
fine.
Yeah.
This new business.
Well, no, that's, yeah, I don't know what happened there, but yeah, I'll get it.
So we will see tracking
Yes.
of HRRP projects in the West Campus CRA area.
And I'll send it out to y'all tomorrow.
That's fine. Thank you very much. Any other, Mr. Maloney? If not, let's move on. Mr. I think was then, Mr. Alonso. And then Bobby Wilson.
Yeah,
Please, John.
Thank you for the presentation. I think looking at all the criteria delineated in your presentation, I think, you have provided good detailed process in terms of how you qualify and select, for the development. But when I look at the affordability section of it, you have 30% AMI, but usually we also accommodate those below 30%, extremely low. How do you intend to accommodate those? If you try to get them, and also homeless, not just people on the street, but homeless in the sense that you have people that don't have means of having their home, but being accommodated with somebody else. So, we do have provision with the housing authority when we go through the process of affordability. But in this process, I don't know if it's not in your criteria in terms of qualifying those potential developers. You want to make it more stringent, so that when you get somebody in, you will make sure that they will be able to provide and demonstrate their ability to support what we're trying to achieve.
Yes, I didn't, and I apologize. I'm actually so excited that we're moving from this building, because I can't, the acoustics are so bad. So, but yes, whatever land that we have or whatever program we have, we'll make sure we'll partner with individuals who are able to produce those units for 30% and below. I would love to have a discussion with the housing authority regarding that.
All right, Mr. Wilson?
That's it.
Okay, and was there anyone else on this, Mr. Wilson?
Hey, thank you for the update. I think there's a lot of confusion around the housing grant. Cause quite honestly, I thought they were whole. I mean, that was what we heard, like they were whole. So when you said that the homeowner renovation program was still active, we had 3, that was wonderful news to hear. Is the DARE program still active as well?
Yes.
So I think there's need to be some communication back out to the community, not only to us, but to the broader community, saying that these programs are active now and that we spend them online. Because I think there's a lot of confusion out there in the community.
Yeah, because the only thing on hold is commercial.
Yeah, so what Mr. Joe mentioned, yes, so the commercial is on hold and the unit creation and conversion portion is on hold. Those are the ones that I was directed by the CRA board to collect feedback, which is what I presented tonight. Now, our programs, which is the housing rehab program and our down payment assistance program, is on and going. The only time that we close the DPA program is when we have expended all of our monies for DPA in that area. Now, I will tell you that at one point for East Tampa, I did put a pause on it and it was communicated just to the East Tampa community saying, hey, I don't have any monies until 10/1. When the fiscal year start. But for the west side, I have been always open for business because I have money sitting in down payment assistance, for individuals who wish to purchase. Now this, in addition to that,
just only asked for your update because we were under the impression that everything was on hold. And that's why we wanted to. So I think thank you for coming so we got the clarity, and you're going to be updating the package with what's going on with the DARE program and then the homeowner rehab program. Do we have any down payment assistance for West Tampa in that program?
Yes, we do have down payment assistance. We have about 1.5 million.
No, like any application.
Oh, no, no application so far. Now, I will tell you my marketing outreach for that. So the process for down payment assistance is that the community does work with the local housing counseling agencies to prep them. I'm sure you're aware of them. The Housing Education Foundation, Solita's House, Reach. Those individuals are the people who work with the housing department to process the applications and work with the clients to reserve the money. So once it gets in my ballpark is once the individual locates a house. So once they go on contract and locate the house is when they send me the reservation request for me to sign off on the dollars based off of their area median income because they're purchasing within that CRA. So I haven't gotten any from the west side yet, but I have already marketed to the housing counseling agencies to let them know, hey, we have West Tampa money. If there's any houses in West Tampa that fall within under that $400,000 mark, the 450 mark, then let me know because I have additional dollars. In addition to up to $50,000 that I can give them, the housing department additional 50,000. So a buyer can achieve 100 grand to buy a house. And that could be used in West Tampa.
Okay. Is that it about Mr. Wilson? Mr. Jones?
Yes, thanks for the presentation. I'm gonna visit your office and, go through a couple of things so I can get a better understanding to communicate to the community. Because a couple of people voiced to me they didn't understand some issues. So clarification for me would be good. So I
Yes,
can
ma'am.
provide training, put it in there. And also, didn't we visit, I don't know if you were involved, in the motion to find out how many, renters, owners that, needed repairs to their homes so that we can sort of cut down on gentrification and get people in those rental homes. We did talk about that. I don't remember if she was involved, but we did mention that.
Rental rehab?
Right.
She says, no, I was
You
gonna
see
say
the
that.
stock of homes.
I was gonna get to that. but I didn't
Okay.
have to.
Okay. All right.
But that-
All right. Thank you, Ms. Park.
Miss, what? Ma'am.
Miss Jan, Miss Jan. I noticed that you emphasized, workforce housing, not just at this meeting, but in the meetings in the past. How do you prioritize the need? Because I just think that the people in the 30 to 80% of AMI, need a whole lot of help. And I'm just trying to figure out where you stand on this. I mean, workforce housing is really, really important, but when we're talking about tip play, we're really talking about trying to find opportunities of affordable housing for people who are low and moderate income. So how do you prioritize the need when the need is so great?
So the main thing is looking at partnerships. So looking at current developers who are willing to build new construction or new multifamily for that population, which is 80%. And just to put in perspective, what an 80% household can look at is about 83,000 a year for a family of four. So that's the main thing. Let's look at partnership. Now you mentioned workforce housing. The reason, Miss Janice, why I always focus on workforce housing as well, in addition to this, is that I don't want to repeat past mistakes. So what I don't want to do is repeat past mistakes from government as it relates to concentration of poverty. Okay. So I don't want to I want it to be mixed. I want enough, the developers to build enough for what is needed, which is 80% and below. Okay. That's number one. We know that. The city of Tampa Housing Department knows that. The CRA knows that we need more units for the 80% and below. We know that, right? But the CRA is very special in a way that we're made to stimulate the economy, because that's the only way that we could get our TIF dollars back in order to then redeposit it back into the neighborhood. So what we need to focus on is making sure that our individuals from our neighborhood start prepping themselves. So I believe in education, getting with the housing counseling agencies to connect them so they can start fixing their credit, looking at increasing income, and actually working on now being able to purchase. So I will say identifying partnerships, identifying creative ways of building housing, and also making sure you get with the right partners who are guiding these individuals to prep themselves for either rental or purchase. So I'm right now, my focus is to make sure I could provide homeownership opportunities.
Ms. Williams, I'm sorry, Ms. Williams.
I think so. I know that's not helpful, but,
Yeah.
you know, it's such a,
It's
frustrating.
It's so, well, what's frustrating is all of the changes we've gone through in the last year and a half, all of this reorganization of all the city, our departments, all of these people that are no longer here, that now they don't have enough staff. So we're going through a flux. That's what I told y'all over 2 years ago. We're going through a flux. Eventually, the flux will stabilize. Once it's stabilized, then we can get into some concrete stuff. But right now, it's a moving target. And as you see, the communication is still bad because people sitting down on the committee, including myself, they know that the housing program is open for business. I understand. Let's move on. Okay. The only thing I got is run a rehabilitation program for vacant structures. Is a better way to go. They're talking about all these developers. Okay, that's the first thing. And I assume you're working on it. Vacant run rehab. And then also legacy status. Why don't we have a legacy status in housing like we do for commercial grants? Is there any reason why we don't?
It's not a reason. It's just that it needs to be developed. So that's what's going on right now. So we're looking at the vacant rehab program, legacy credit, and pre-development for residential
So those
side.
things, after we get past this creative unit creation, we'll get that. Because you know, people, we bought that big piece of property on Cypress. And one of the things we need to stress, this is talking about housing, is that they don't have a community meeting now. See, because anytime we buy property, we cannot do anything with it until it has community outreach of what we need to do with it. So even though the city said they may want to do rehab, or they want to do this, it's still going to be left up to input from the community to say what they want to do with that piece of property. Got it? Even though we want to do it for the housing, if the community might say, well, we don't want to do it. If they're strong enough, like we're finding out about other stuff, they might just persuade us it ain't right. So let's be aware that now we get property, we buy, we must have a community outreach for to hear the community input as to what they want. Right? Okay.
Correct.
That's it, Mrs. B. Thank you very much. Sorry for keeping you up late, but as usual, you got conflict, y'all. You didn't get to that high, honey. Let's move on to the next item on the agenda, which is all night. Wow, it says project team report and put it in the packet. And it's got Joe Robinson and Cypress. I just got to put on that committee. I don't even know when it's meeting, but it's a Brownfield committee for that property that was just discussed about on Cypress and Howard. And so I'm on there, the Brownfield committee. We haven't met. I don't know when we meet, Ms. Crowell. But I'm on there, and that's my report. I just got to put on.
Let you know.
Okay, so let's move on to B. That was a grant report. You have all of this in there, so we're CRA staff report. So the way it works is you have a minute, but I got a problem. Let's get it over with now. Pass that, let me throw somebody, please. Well, give me that one back. That's the original. Give me that one. I have said, but I have to ask, the communication, get stuff done, and we want dates on there. But our vice chairman talking about, don't get the dates on there. We had stuff, so I put mine in writing. As of the night, this chart that we pass out, this grant, commercial on that chart. And I wanted to strictly state what I stated last week, that did not happen on this commercial plant chart. And that was, and I'm requesting my last time, but else I'm gonna take the basic action to get it done. Because of the potential lawsuit gonna happen, Joe Ross from the state, I'm gonna say that, I said that this is an inaccurate description of this commercial plant status of my application. I said that the requester is waiting for commercial grant applications to reopen after being closed in September of 2025 is what the status should say. Not that I'm waiting, they're waiting on me to do something. I can't do anything until the application process reopens. Okay, so please put that on here. I've given it to you in writing, so when I see this in January, I want to see it say exactly what I wrote, but that's the status. The application process is closed, probably closed till February. Okay, that's what I'm gonna say about that. So this is my last time asking this in writing. This has been video and audio tape this meeting. So please correct the commercial grant application with my name on it, with my 3 properties that I'm pushing through the process now. With that said, that takes care of that. Next, the other one is, does anybody have any comments? Let's do it that way. Does anybody have any comments on the grant report, the housing report, the package? And if not, then we'll get to the management report. But I just told you what my problem is with on there. So if anybody got anything else they want to add to it? I don't see nobody. So let's move on to management report, and then we'll get to old business, which is where I really want to talk about.
Thank you, everyone. Just a couple things here. We have, for anyone that's rolled off the CAC in December, at our December CRA board meeting, we invite them to come for an appreciation ceremony. There's a picture you get to take with the CRA board. They say nice things about you and you get a certificate. So the only person that's rolled off our CAC, they started doing this last year and it was really nice. And the only person that I know that has rolled off this year is Miss Sandy Sanchez. So I'm going to invite her to that. And anyone, of course, is welcome to come. So that's happening on December 11th at 9 a.m. Second thing is we have a new meeting space opportunity. By the generosity of Mr. Alonia, he has offered the canopy, which is at West River, for our meeting space. It's a community room on the first floor. It's on the corner of Oregon and Main Street. Yes, Main Street. There is a parking garage that's attached to it, and they said that they could make arrangements that CAC members could park there during our meeting time.
So you have on-street parking.
And there's on-street parking, of course, which is getting filled up a lot, but it's next to be public. So anyway, I wanted to first do nothing until I asked y'all what you think about moving the meeting. We have viewed the space. It's different. It's a little bit smaller than this space, but the staff has been wonderful about maybe rearranging it. We are investing in a IT system that's going to be much better than what we have. We have a test. Thank you to Miguel and the IT team. We went out there, we all looked at it. They looked at it really because they're looking at it from the setup standpoint. Yes.
Just to give everybody an idea of the size of the space, I explained this a little earlier. It's probably maybe from the wall here to maybe where the arch ends right behind me, width wise, and then the length of the building is probably from that wall to this wall. It's a little smaller than what we have in here, but it can definitely be done. We can still have this V shape that we have now with the presentation right in the middle. And pretty much what we were deciding is that people in the community that come in, they'll be sitting behind you and everybody, and then I guess Brett and I will be in the center, doing like we're doing right here now. So orientation will be pretty much the same, except the audience will be behind you, over your audience. So yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to test it out with some new equipment. We need new equipment anyway. So if the investment is, to be for any space that we go into, there is no screen in there. So that's one other thing we're going to have to probably invest in. But I wanted y'all to know that the opportunity is on the table. And what do you think about moving the meeting? And then just one more thing. There is a little challenge with this building. Thank you to Mr. Cedro here, who is the door holder today. y'all know they shut the door and we cannot, I literally have to use my cell phone and run back and forth unless I have some nice, very nice person who volunteers to do the door hopper. So that's a little bit challenging here, but it's doable. We can stay here if you like. We already have the dates, or we can move it to the canopy. And if we do move, we can start in January. Yes, ma'am.
This is good.
My question is along those lines. At the canopy, do you have access problems like we do here? Can people
No.
go in?
You walk right in. It's
So it's not
actually,
secure. Anybody can walk in there.
well,
No, I mean, the days of, I mean, you give them the schedule,
We
so
give them
they'll
the
make sure
schedule.
you have access, you know.
So the door will be open, so anybody that wants to come in, we don't have to be worrying about call me or whatever.
No.
That was my main concern.
No.
Okay, good. The other thing is, I don't know, I'm not crazy about the V shape, only because I'm always like this. Tonight's a little bit better, but, I also like having the audience where we can see them rather than.
well, we only have this space.
That's gonna be good, yeah. I mean, I was one of the ones that was hoping we could use a cane.
So like, we arrange the orientation,
Yeah.
but we can definitely keep the orientation as it is, just that one change.
It's more open, definitely.
Yeah.
You won't have any pillars.
Even if we keep you all on one side and then the audience on the opposite side, again, like I said, we're gonna go in there later, test the equipment out, see how audio and everything is. If that all sounds good to us, and then you all decide, hey, let's go, however y'all wanna do, then we can worry about orientation after like a first, second run, see what everybody's thinking.
Okay.
Let's ask me.
Well, we're not going in January.
Well, the next meeting would be January 20th. That's our meeting, so we would start then. You mean do a test meeting and see if it works?
Yeah.
We could do that. I won't give up the dates here. We
Screen and all that, but
will. On
That's
December
January.
9th, we're having,
right now, they're not showing that meeting to be there. You said it is foundation.
well, actually, I gave you a schedule. On their schedule, it did say the canopy. I went ahead and just added that date there. Do you know where this is?
It says the next meeting is like this, foundation.
Oh, yeah. That would change. Yeah, because when I made the agenda.
So do you guys want to try this in January? Oh, hold on. Mrs. Okay.
Yes, there is on-street parking, but every single time I pass by there, it is jammed.
So when we start, the motion is.
So
It's in the garage, right? That is adjacent to the building that actually has a walkway.
it has a walkway. there-
Yes, and an elevator, right?
That's kind of big.
We may have to have David get some more.
All right, so somebody want to make a motion that we do something, then we're trying to assess this, and then we go there, we don't like it, and back to here, to want to change it, right? So, it's going to, because I don't normalize it, there's this thing, we're gonna test it.
So
There's a motion to have our meeting on January 20th
it's a test meeting.
at the canopy,
Yes.
but it's a test meeting. Is there a second?
Thank you.
Is there discussion?
Sure the audience is in front of us now.
Yes, we need to have.
Oh, no, they're not gonna be behind you. Y'all will be the head.
Yeah.
And it'll be that way.
You can actually have this.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
that's,
think it'll be a C.
And
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna suggest, more of a
Yeah.
half circle.
more of a half circle. It'll work. Yeah.
Okay, so, any, Mr. Jones?
Or the audience is kind of confused, so where you talking about?
The canopy on Main Street, what's the address?
Okay.
Westbrook, like,
Westbrook.
It's on,
Boulevard.
it's 1101 West Main Street.
This is the second building, David.
It's on the number,
This Woodfall's canopy is the second building, yeah, the second quadrant. You
Second
have the
building.
boulevard and then you have the canopy.
If you go Oregon, come down 2 buildings.
When we had our meeting at Martin Luther King, I put some signs out that said where the meeting is. I can do that for this meeting. People know.
Yes, no. And then also, can you send out a, some kind of location before the meeting to us?
Yes. I'll put it in your
They
calendar.
can't even put it, tonight, it needs to be put on the website, so people can start looking now at it. But we're gonna meet again in January, week, so this is it.
Put the balloons outside.
You want the link? I have to ask David.
Any discussion? Any more discussion on the motion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passed. Moving right along. Ms. Jones, get scanners before I get into, Old business. Do you have any old business?
Is Ray Park considered open?
Yes.
So
So we're gonna go to the agenda now.
I've been asked, they say they cleaned up the place, but nothing else is progress. And the only thing I can keep telling them is people say on track, on track, on track. What is on track?
I'm sorry, what are we talking about?
She-
I keep getting asked, because they were told to sort of clean up the place, and they did, Ray Park.
Ray Park, okay.
Yes. And so every time the community asks me, because I'm there all the time, all I can tell them is what's on this piece of paper, it's on track. And that's all I ever had to communicate to the community.
So the request is
The question is, when something's going to happen
at Ray Park?
at Ray Park.
Oh, okay.
Because, he had to send the kids over to other places.
Mhm.
And he's saying like, well, if nothing's on track and that's all they can say, I'll keep saying, you know, we'll bring the kids back. Because it's an inconvenience to the community and the parents. We got to drive over here to bring these kids. So he had to separate them to different places. So they were saying, if it's not a date, I can bring my kids back and continue.
But there's a date for the completion, and that's the fall of 2026, which is right.
They asked them to remove the things from the building. So what was the purpose of that? And disrupting the system that the kids are familiar with and need those services. And that's entering.
That's a programming issue, which we have no control over. But we can make the comment that it's a programming issue of removing people out, anticipate the demolition of the building, which is what's happening. That's gonna happen, but they gotta knock it down and do what they gotta do. So I don't think that we need to have them come in with a program, how they plan on transitioning from the existing operations, and what are they gonna do with all the people that are going to the park that ain't going for?
So that's the question he's asking, and they're asking, why can't they come to the park and continue his program? Because he doesn't have an official.
That's gonna have to be answered by Parks and Recs. So that's your request? You know,
The Parks and Rec.
you just put that in form of motion.
I was saying with the, one of the guys.
So what do you want, Ms. Jones? You want an update on?
I want to update, he wants to update.
Let me know
And
that
here's
you
the
want
parents wanna know.
Make a motion that you want to update on the program and transition.
I would like to make a motion for an update on the transition of Ray Park onto current dates, so that we can know if the kids can come.
All right, is there a second to that motion?
Thank you.
All right, there's motion, is there discussion? And then when you want that, at the next meeting in January?
We're hoping soon to do
That's the only time we're gonna do it, because we don't.
If I can send it by email if you'd like,
All
to
right.
get an update.
So you got the motion, Mrs. Rose.
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All right, anything else, Ms. Jones? Old business, yes. Ms. Jones.
The parking study. Finished, very good parking study, had a whole list of lots of good actions and dates and so forth. But I don't think anything has happened other than the restriping of the Main Street project, which is very good. What is the status of, what's the next project we're gonna do from the parking study?
I know it's.
There was a priority, you remember there was a priority board, because I was real concerned about this, and I had brought it up before about this could be somebody's full-time job, just implementing the parking study. And we haven't done anything, and we don't want it to just, and I have gotten inquiries, because it is it's starting to be a problem finding parking on Main Street, and and it's gonna get worse real quick as more and more people. So can we have, I don't know if it's mobility or whomever, staff to review that study and say, here are the next 3 projects or the next 3 steps.
But here's the issue, see, it doesn't make this list, the tracking report, unless it is a project.
Well, I'm.
But the question Part study was on here, and once it's completed, it comes on.
New business, but while we're under old business, if we can have staff bring us their recommendation from that study and the priorities listed, what should be the next 1, 2, or 3 projects, so that we can get it in the pipeline and start funding it.
Right. That's the motion.
That's the motion, a long-winded motion,
Right, motion, we state your motion again,
that we request staff to bring back their recommendations on the next,
phase,
first, second, and third priorities, to be.
Phases.
Some of the-
phases.
Phases,
Not
okay.
that one, so they're taking the product, no, phase to get something done, not so much.
Well, that study laid out priorities, it
Right,
actually,
so we don't need products, we need phases, when they're gonna get these phases done.
well, but we need to know them to pull out what are the, I don't remember, I mean, I have the parking study somewhere, but.
So, okay, why don't we do this? Why don't we just have, I'll talk to the projects team about bringing back, let's have a conversation about that implementation plan that was in that
So
project.
what are the
And
next,
I think they're gonna want y'all to give us the recommendation, possibly, I don't know, so let's just talk about that.
Again, on what you want, 'cause I don't forget.
Well, that's what,
just, I mean, I
then
don't
we'll
know.
revisit the parking
So
study.
we need to just make a motion to have them come and let us know what, okay, as you say, priorities, that they can tell us we need to move forward.
But I mean, I guess my issue is that, yes, we have our priorities, but we need the guidance of transportation and mobility staff, because I'm not a parking expert to say, okay, based on the study, these were the priorities, and yes, this is what we're recommending to you, and then we agree.
Why don't one of my priorities is get a parking garage built?
Well, and this is,
That's my priority.
well, and I don't remember where that was on the priority list. I don't know if we're there yet, but maybe we're at the place where we need to study the parking garage and do the land acquisition. That's what I'm talking about, that parking.
All right, so we need to just have them come in. Can't answer anything tonight, so we
Okay.
don't have them here.
And just remind you that we're going through the community redevelopment plan updates. This is another great opportunity to prioritize things and to set what we want to do over the next.
All right, so again, clarify, Ms. Young.
The motion is to have staff, present us with the next top 3 priorities identified for our consideration.
But funding,
Yes,
that's not stuff moved, the city don't move without funding.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so you put that.
Approve it as a project and it gets on the project list.
Okay. But that got funding to the motion, so that's a big.
Funding. Done.
All right, you got the motion, Mr. Thrower,
Believe I did.
and it was seconded by Ms. Maloney. Any other further discussion?
I would just add to that, clarify staff to be not just CRA staff, but also mobility and parking division.
Yes,
Okay, you accept that?
yes, absolutely.
All right. Any other?
Hey, this is a general comment. I think we probably.
No, we don't do no general comments. I got a motion on the floor. You got anything to say about the motion on the floor? All right, all in favor, please say aye. All opposed? All right, now, it's about this.
So I'm thinking like, we have a lot of projects and they, the parking need to revisit. And like, and that's some of these things off and look at them holistically. With the parking study, we've got Fremont Linear Park, and all the stuff, then like, there's a lot of stuff. In flight, some are moving, some are not. I think we could maybe in January or February.
In February, we have a overall review about existing projects.
I think so. Just
When this get,
with schedule, just like really focus on like, hey, and so we have our priority for twenty twenty.
Got it, you got it, right? Okay. All right, now let me move the mine, we're gonna move along.
we still have another old business. It's. Stop laughing. It's simple, the parking study, but our Main Street, streetscape and beautification master plan that we moved, and this is, I'm gonna bring it up under new business, but in other words, similar to the parking study, we don't want that to be out there and then nothing is happening with it. So we already made the motion to do it, and I don't know if that's a separate list. This is going into the new business, and that's why I think we need a list. And I hate to overburdened, but
No, it's fine.
like things that we made a motion on that are not yet in the project phase, but they're kind of on hold or pending further action, so we don't lose track of them.
Yeah, I think that would be part of the February conversation.
Yeah, because we need to be moving forward on the Main Street beautification master
So
plan.
what are you gonna do?
Well, I would like it to be on the list, but we can make sure
Well, make a motion, because nothing happened.
well, I mean, I think it should already be on the projects list. because we
It's not, the city has a criteria for something to be on the project list. And until it becomes a capital project, it ain't going to be.
So corridor study is not the streetscape and beautification master plan that we approved.
Correct. So that's why I said we need to get the person in here and let them tell us the update where they at.
But
Well, that's the fund, that's in your budget, you have money, and that's why it is a project, which is good. But that probably needs to be more defined, according to the motion you make. But yes, the Main Street corridor, well, no, that's not,
That's
really,
not the
it's a
same.
beautification,
Yeah,
yes, the beautification plan.
that's two different.
Yes.
Yes. So, I mean, I think it's time for that to go on this list.
So make a motion. To make it happen.
Okay, I move that we add the Main Street beautification, streetscape and beautification master plan to the infrastructure capital projects list.
Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Wilson. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, nay. Motion passes unanimously. Anything else?
Done, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Now, old business. This is why I got old business here. First one I'm gonna take care of, real easily. We made a motion. At the same time we talked about opportunity zone, we talked about the West Tampa Core Business District in expansion. That does not appear in the September notes of meeting nowhere, which I have a copy here. It does not appear, I missed it. So we missed that when we approved those notes, that there was a motion made. So what I want to do is ask for a motion to be made to move the West Tampa Business District from the boundaries that it is now. And, the boundaries that it is now was, it went to Tampania. And remember, the lady with the dragon could not do anything because it stopped in the middle of all that. So we said we wanted to go east to Rome, right? From where it is now. So, and I think that was the motion, I don't know why it wasn't
There
showing.
was a motion, I think it's in the.
It ain't in the September notes, right here. Because it was discussed at the same time that we discussed
The opportunities.
the opportunity
Yeah,
zone.
and Javier Mary was with us, yes.
Okay, and that is not in the notes. The only thing we notes is the motion about the opportunity zone, we're gonna get that next. But that's not in the September, actually, it was the October 21st meeting, and the September notes was presented to us for approval. And I got it right here, so it's not in anywhere. Okay, it's that opportunity zone, doesn't say anything about moving it, so that's why, if we made a motion, it's not been documented, so I'm gonna re-motion. Read again, to get a motion to move the West Tampa boundary, the West Tampa Business District Core District. Ask the city to move the lines to Rome Avenue on the east. That's the only way I'm gonna move it that way. It starts in the middle of it. No, we made a motion, it's not in the notes, so it didn't happen.
No, I thought like, I agree with that, and I thought the discussion was that we went all the way down Main.
We did discuss that.
But then, what y'all wanna do? Is there a motion? If not, pass the mic. So. I don't have a motion.
Is there a way we can get clarification on?
I'm confused, sorry. I
The
remember
confusion is it's not in the notes of
conversation.
meeting, and it was a motion made on September to expand the West Tampa Business Core District, and it didn't appear in the notes. Okay? The opportunity zone motion appeared in the notes, and I'll take that next. But that one in the notes says, here's the October 21st meeting back. Don't see it in there. So, That's why I wanna, so y'all wanna wait and find out?
I can look back on the tape, yes.
So look back on the tape and see what we said. So let's move on to that one. That was the easy one. Here's the one that I'm concerned about, and Mr. Cass brought that to your attention. So what I'm gonna do is pass out this. Okay, here is the map. Pass that around. This is a map that shows the existing opportunity zones in West Tampa. Okay? That was passed by the previous administration. All right? And then this is a map that shows that, I passed this round. That is a map showing the existing, the eligible opportunity zones coming up in 2025. And the reason this is important is because we are a slum blighted area. We have low moderate income. This is based on the fact that we asked Mr. Javier on here, the motion, for example, right out, getting that passed out. You see this blue man, you see this, the suspension on here, but everybody's connected in here under the package. You got this? Okay. You see the thing says Ridgewood Park, Yellow Jackets? That's Central Tract 43, West River. You see where it says Old West Tampa, not in blue? That's Central Tract 43, where we're sitting right now. You see the blue says Northeast McFarland Park? That's everything, that's Central Tract 45. Okay? So that's all the way. So that means that you left out the most slum and blighted commercial part of Main Street that's still slum and blighted, at least on one side, is not included. So my attempt is to get Central Tract 44 that you see here missing in blue, included in the new opportunity zones. If you look at the gold map, the gold, that doesn't have it. It's just sort of zigzag, but it's the river on the east. You got the gold in your hand, you swing the gold, I'm trying to start with how the ink print means. But it's the river on the east, it's Columbus Drive on the north, Amelia on the west, and it comes down to Green Street. Then it goes over to Rome Avenue, it's all on the west, then it goes down to Kennedy, then it goes over to Willow, and then it goes to the Southern Expressway back to the river. That is the eligible opportunity zones for West Tampa. That has been determined by an EIG study. Now, why did I say this? I say this because getting these opportunity zones is very competitive. The motion that was made by myself when I passed the mic was that there was a motion by Robinson, second by Maloney, to write a letter of support to include Central Tract 44 in the city of Tampa opportunity zones. And that got, like, why are you doing that? Didn't it say the recommendation was later amended to request the manager drawer, CRA staff to transmit this said recommendation to Director Marine. City of Tampa includes Central Tract 44 on the city of Tampa's list opportunity zones to keep citizens informed on the status. What was done, but that didn't happen. That was September, this is November. So I'm upset. You get on the recorder. Mr. Cass called me up and said, Mr. Robinson, why don't y'all have the Central Tract 44 included? I said, I don't know. We made a request. He said that the staff, Mr. Marine man, said that the city's not so coming up looking at the zones. They came to this meeting and asked us what we think. Since September, he said that the CDC, the Economic Development Committee Council, that the city pays $300,000 or $400,000 a year is making it hard. But that ain't the city of Tampa. So the city of Tampa, to me, has delegated that authority to some outside agency. Why does that concern me? Y'all heard of baseball, right? Y'all heard about the Ravens, right? I got a limited map of this. Fast this time out. And I'm on the record. Okay. Don't have many, but past that, y'all eat my ink up now. I had to go buy the new ones. $58 grant, okay? All right. I say this to say that, one, we know that Census Tract 44 will be eligible. So I'm gonna pass the mic to make the most of this time, that we ain't gonna wait for the city. Excellent. But I'm waiting for that. But let me just say why I'm pushing this. This is the location that the ratings are looking for right now. This yellow map. See HCC property, the see HCC property. Oh, yeah, what that tell you? It's all opportunities on yellow in 2025. What do you think they want to get over there? That's a good reason to be over there. Now, why is that important? No, it's slowly blighted right here in West Tampa. Been like this for decades and decades and decades, Mr. Jones. But here comes the new guy who to a baseball stadium over there, want to wipe out HCC property, but they got a whole opportunity zone on everything they gonna get. Why is that important? Well, they got access to the government. But guess who makes the call for opportunity zones to be submitted to the federal government for approval? The government. So they're gonna outrank us. They're gonna outdo us. The man just told you it's about a week time that something can happen. So this is my plan to put it out there. I'm gonna pass the mic and make a motion. Okay, so here goes the mic. Get your mic over there. You can share it. I'm biased. I'm just a regular person. I'm not gonna share it. So I make a motion. I want to make a motion. I'm gonna go back to the motion that was made back in September. And this is gonna be what I want to do. The motion is that I write a letter to the government on no stationary from the city that we want to have Census Tract 44 included in the new, as one of the new opportunity zones. And copy the mayor, city council, and everyone else. And this letter needs to be presented to city council this Thursday at 9 a.m. Period. That's the motion. Yeah.
Can I get a second? Second by Mr. Maloney. Any discussion?
Okay, this is discussion. Here's why. The OBBA makes opportunity zones in Senate permanent. When they passed the big beautiful bill, since opportunity zones became permanent. Permanent. So you're gonna see them permanently around here. It's the politics that we gotta get in front of. And we're running out of time. They're permanent. And it establishes that redesignation cycle to update the map of designated community communities every 10 years. So they're gonna redesignate this now, and 10 years later, they're gonna redo it again. Right now, we ain't even in the old bill, but we got overlooked by whoever made this recommendation. Big time. I want to be on the record and on writing that we want this designated. And we know the city saying, well, we got the CDC, the Community, the Economic Development, the Michigan Committee, what they call themselves, they're making the choice. Well, they got to do it the city of Tampa, but we give them $300,000, $400,000 to do economic stuff for the city, I guess. Now, that ain't gonna happen. We need to go on the record that we are for this 44 to be an opportunity zone. We know that the eligible opportunity zone 2025 shows this from the EIG report that we will be eligible again. Let me read on. Here's the thing. The next designation cycle, which we're going through right now, begins on July 3rd, 2026. When governors will begin nominating a new map of census tracts. Once the Secretary of Treasury certifies those tracts, the new map of opportunity zones will go into effect on January 1st, 2027, and last for 10 years. After which it will be replaced with updated designations on a decimal basis. The current OZ map will remain in effect to the end of 2028. Meaning that it will overlap with the new round of designation for 2 years. The House bill will have sunset the current map at the end of 2026, 2 years early, but that provision was removed from the. Okay, so this gonna be around for 2028. If we can get the governor, to get sitting up there to be looked at, then maybe we might get it. But I've been damn if I'm gonna sit here after hearing this CAC and then telling everybody we need to have this shit done 3 months ago. And then Javier tells me that, yeah, we're gonna get updated and what the update is, with CAC saying they're gonna prove something. I have to go to city council on Thursday. Mr. Chair.
I just wanted to revisit it because if my memory serves me, which it doesn't often. When we had this discussion last time, we were talking about sending a letter to the governor. And then I brought up the point because I think the process was stated that the governors are going to look to the mayors to make the recommendations. So it's like, well, before we write the governor, we better write.
I'm sorry.
And I thought we made a motion that we were gonna write, like you said, we made a motion to write a letter to the mayor.
No, that was one, I just read the motion and the note. There was a motion made to write a letter to support and include the census tract 44 on the city council. The recommendation was later amended to request Madam Thrower and Sheriff Steph to transmit this CAC recommendation to Director Marine, City of Tampa, so that you certainly write the letter. Right? It was a change. When you make your statement, it got changed. So, oh, well, we can't write a letter on their stationery, and all that nonsense. And I said, enough is enough. I'm gonna write a letter on plain paper. I'm
Write a
gonna
letter.
the ask.
You can send a recommendation to CRA board.
We didn't want to send a letter to the governor. That's my motion, Mr. Chairman. Yes, you can.
You can individually, yeah, you can.
No, you can write a letter right now. Ain't nothing in the rules, the policy, another CARA rule say you can't write a letter any way you want.
But why wouldn't we write, say, in other words, the letter needs to include the mayor, city council, and then if you want the governor too, then the governor.
I said, I'm gonna copy the man, copy the city council.
Yeah.
If you don't want it, don't go for it.
No, I'm just thinking, would it be better to write to, since we're a city?
No, it's like the man, gonna designate their responsibility to EDC.
Well, but we're communicating to the mayor and city council and copying the governor what our president.
City council need to have a letter from us to the governor, saying what we want, and let them and be on notice. They might could do something to do better than what we could do, because we just an advisory. We don't approve anything. In fact, we don't approve anything. Nothing.
Yeah.
So we're just advising, just let us advise the governor that we want to have it on here, because I'm telling you, you're competing with the Rays, you're competing with the big developers, you're competing with the big boys. You ain't gonna get no respect sitting here sending something to the mayor or sending it to city council. It need to go to the governor and let him know that this committee wants to census tract 44. Period.
And that's okay, I just don't want to leave the mayor and city
They're gonna be
council.
CC'd on it.
Okay.
That's it, they're gonna be CC'd. I'm going down there Thursday trying to get this letter drafted up. I can type that fast.
Any other discussion?
And if I was wrong, if I did something illegal, I would take the heat and y'all would be exemplified. So Roger would take the heat. But if it works, I'll take it to success time. Okay, so understand, there comes a time that we got to make a decision and we gotta think out the box and do stuff out the box. So we're gonna sit there, listen to all this stuff.
No, and let's just keep this going. If there's no further discussion, let's go ahead and take it to vote.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Roll call vote? Trevor?
What's that?
Roll
Oh,
call.
you want to do roll call?
Yeah.
Okay, just
You have a motion?
say yay or nay. Joe Robinson,
Yeah.
Carlos Ramirez,
Yay.
Michael Brosnan,
Yeah.
Janice Williams,
Yay.
Bobby Wilson, Jeanette.
Yeah.
Cynthia Maloney.
Yay.
All right, Delphine Jones, Okay, Tina Young?
Yes.
All right, and Dennis, David Alonia, and then Miss Williams. David, and Miss Williams.
I already said it.
But you already did, I'm sorry, but you got vote unanimous. There you go.
Okay,
Motion passes.
Sorry.
Mr. Chair, second.
all right. So, pass this map out. No, that's the West Tampa Business Park District, so you know what it is. Just keep it in there.
So, Mr. Chair, that term is in the West Tampa overlay. So is the motion to change the West Tampa overlay to extend it over to
Well, nobody had a map, but I had it here, but, you know, I just found it.
that's my
I
question.
just want to look at the map for reference, Chair.
All right, I'll-
Sure. You change that for it. That's the map. And all I'm saying is take that line that's on the east side over to, straight across over to Boulevard. Y'all see it now, it's more clear. I'm sorry, I just found it. Yes, I'm not kidding. It's back on me? Oh, okay, yes, Mr. Fenton.
And then what we were told was that before we proceeded with that, we had to communicate with all of the property owners or business owners before that was to go forward. And I don't know where that went.
Well, hold on, we can't do any of that. That's something the staff gotta do, Mr. Bashir.
But I mean,
I'm sorry. Yeah, we've been talking about this for years within the subcommittees and trying to get this. We had made recommendations and staff back then was going to speak to the city attorney to see if it was even required. When they originally passed this, nobody ever talked to these business owners and asked if they wanted to be in. It's only a benefit. It allows for certain parking allowances and waivers and it's only a benefit to those properties. It doesn't require anyone to do anything. It only gives advantages for businesses opening up within that business core to be able to operate a little easier. So the whole point of it back then was, why would we go and ask? I think there were 13 commercial buildings that were going to be impacted, but only in a positive way. So I don't know that we ever got an answer back as to why it would even be required. We make the motion, we expand the core district, and then it becomes part of the new map, the overlay. How was that? If someone wants to use the benefits, do it. If they don't, they don't. And that was really good. And as I remember it very, very clearly, for that, was pushing pretty heavily for it. So.
Yeah, is there a motion to?
No, I don't know if you can motion, yeah, that's fine.
So
I mean, if I can make the motion, yeah, but if I don't have.
in order to continue discussion, I make a motion to expand the West Tampa Business Core District eastern boundary to the North Boulevard.
Is there a second? I second that. Second, Mr. Brazil, is there any discussion?
no.
Any discussion? Ms. Lewis?
I got several discussion. And I agree with everything you said. There is nothing but a benefit. The original intent of this business core district was to benefit the businesses because the buildings and the geometry of the plots were old and they would not be able to conform to modern code. If we expand it over to Boulevard, all that is empty land. There is no reason why those new developments can't meet that new requirement. So my suggestion is to move it to Rome, because from Rome on, it's all new, and I believe all that already.
But everything east of Rome is already done.
Right, that's my suggestion. You guys can say no.
Who made the motion?
Oh, I
Make a motion, please.
made a motion.
He made the motion, and he said, you wanna do
I
it?
want to discuss it.
Okay,
Discussion.
okay.
That's one point. The second point I have is this map, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this map came from the overlay. So if we want to change the map, we have to change the overlay. And what is that process?
I think this doesn't piggyback the overlay map.
Okay, because I found this in the overlay, and it describes the boundaries of everything.
But I found it on the city, this GIS, I just.
Well, I understand, why the GIS got it from the code. It's in the code, it's codified, so we have to change the code in order to change that
I
boundary.
don't know about that.
Okay, then we need to.
Clarification, because this is not a CRA issue. What, this is a land development issue?
No, this is a CRA, CAC issue.
It's an issue, but where does this fall? Who does this? This is land development. You're asking land development? Is this what this is? We don't change maps, that's what I'm saying. Where does this fall in? What was the street?
None of y'all in the expression, what does it be changed by city staff, that we could do it. We making a motion, express our intent is to move this line. And if that take whatever, they need to go do it. Tell us why they can't come and do it. But we can't sit here and try to figure out how it will be done, or will it affect the overlay. Is it something we want done? If it can't be done, then get back with us and tell us we can't do it, right?
Can I amend my motion?
Yes, you will.
Yes, after we're done with this.
Okay, the motion is to just go wrong.
Well,
And does the second agree to that? I agree with it.
I want to see if anybody else, because I think Bobby's done.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, do we want to extend it on Howard down to Kennedy? Because that's core business and there's more businesses are being developed on Howard going south of Mississippi.
I mean, going back to what Mr. Robbins said, it's not us to, it's not up to us to solve it and how to do it. I think we can say that we recommend, we want staff to look at it and see how we can extend it and how far we can extend it.
Okay, Bob, have you done?
I'm done.
Okay, Mr. Priscilla, what do you say?
Just so speaking kind of openly about the intent of what we all believe is the original intent.
Yeah.
Which was because of the original plats and many of these smaller structures not being able to conform to the code, that absolutely helps. And we wanted to spur some commercial infrastructure within the city, within this core. Areas that have already benefited are, as you get to the south further. I don't know that, me personally, I don't think Kennedy going that far. I agree also going that far east to Rome is almost unnecessary because all of Rome yards, all that stuff already has master development. I'm sorry, Boulevard. Going beyond Rome, definitely trying to not create a dividing line in the middle of a road is also if I was to support that. There's the same situation we have as you come down here where there's dividing lines going down Armenia to the end of the CRA, and then there's certain benefits that aren't available. So you've got an entire west side, which I know they redrew that line several times. So encompassing visual thoroughfares, getting both sides of the road, I think that's important. So if we do Rome, I think you get both sides of Rome. Do we think it needs to go all the way to Boulevard? I think that takes a little bit of a closer look. And again, we're not the ones to choose, but it seems impractical. And if that's the thing that stops it from going to Rome, I'd say dial it back, if the ask is smaller. But I think going back and finding out exactly how this is created is that anyone can figure out who threw this map, how it was put into the overlay, when it was put into effect, and what department indicated that there's going to be these variances allowed. And essentially this overlay, it's the zoning overlay, is what it is for a commercial district. I think that's important for us to understand and really understand what the impact.
Let me tell you why it came up with me. You know why this map is why I didn't never know it existed, okay? You know why it came up? Because when I tried to do my houses over here on a median, that in a CI zoning, they said that I couldn't get any money unless I changed into a business use. Because right now my use is residential, no problem. I said, okay, then I'll change to business use. I said, but what about parking? Abby Peete said city council, when I was sitting there talking to her about it, if you're in the West Tampa Business Court District, it's waived. So if I want to convert my house, and I need it required parking by code, it's waived if I'm in the court. And I went to find the map, which she never let me find. And the map, I found it. And that's what I said, oh, it goes all the way over to Tampa. I'm in the district. So now I don't have to worry about parking. That's why this came up. And then I started thinking about why ain't it moving on down? At least wrong. So that's why this map even came up. for discussion?
And it's come up before.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, and we discussed it, and we recommended it to be moved, and we got pushed back from the city. Now, if we can make a motion,
You made a motion, the
so
motion,
we can enter a motion.
well, clarify your motion, so we get the motion straight to you.
So, okay, so we're gonna ask staff to look into this and tell us what we can and cannot do. Right? That's
Well,
what
I'm
we're talking
not, I'm
about.
not telling the staff that, look, we need to move it to Rome,
Because,
and then let them tell us they can't.
Yeah.
Because you're not gonna ask, if you ask the city staff to tell you something, they'll tell you you can't do anything.
I think we're saying the same thing. So the motion is for the intent of the CAC to revise the West Tampa Business Core District eastern boundary to the east side of Rome. Right, so the east side of Rome.
All right, is there a second to the motion that's been clarified? Is there a second to this motion?
I will second with possible amendment.
Okay, there's a second discussion, Mr. Masia.
I think looking into, and this is also unintended consequences, is where this overlay line is drawn. If it's just to the east side, it may not, if it's written that way, it's not going to include properties which may extend 100 feet, 150 feet, 200 feet. In the case of cigar factories that are along the road, you could have it literally, the overlay splitting the property in half in that parcel. So to identify the deepest parcel within that eastern boundary to extend to the end of that eastern parcel
Or to include all parcels fronting Rome.
on each side.
On
That's a
each side.
good word, yes.
All right, we state that,
Amended for the eastern boundary to be, instead of the east side of Rome, to include all parcels on the east side of Rome.
okay, that was clear.
That's.
Everybody got it?
What is that? The eastern,
So my original motion was to go to the east side of Rome.
right, okay. Taking the first property, taking the frontage of the first
We
property.
want to take the first property. So in order, instead of just saying the east side of Rome, we're going to say to include the properties facing Rome.
So the correct way to saying that is taking in, because we do this in the historic district, it's the rear property.
The rear property.
The rear property line
That's how we do
of,
it.
yeah,
Yes.
of the eastern.
How we do it? How we do it?
That's,
All right, but Brendan, what motion you got down?
give me a moment.
And our intent here is economic development.
All right, there was a motion, Ramirez, and I have you, Rocky, you were, yeah, Rocky, to revise the West Tampa Business Core District boundary line to include to east, to the east,
East boundary to
The east boundary line.
east boundary
the rear property line of all
of
parcels.
Rome
to
Avenue.
Rome.
Okay, hold on, Rome Avenue. To include, how about that? To include the rear property line. Line. Those facing Rome, those. No, probably of Rome Avenue. That's right.
All properties bordering.
And the reason you do that is because properties can all be different. And if someone combines a folio together, then it would take the real, it could be the whole block. I mean, it just depends. Okay. And who will we submitting this to? Because I don't do this. So where is this going?
Economic Development Department.
Economic, I'll send it through the Economic Development. Okay.
Got a clear motion? Got clear discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion was unanimous. Do I have any roll call vote? All right, that brings us to the end of any new business. Ms. Clinton. Is that last week?
Yeah, for new business. I hate to add any burden to staff, but at the same time, I think we need a system, and I think our discussion is a perfect example tonight, that tracks motions. I know that they're in the minutes, but minutes are voluminous. And I think if we had a simple spreadsheet that every time we made a motion, it was, I mean, city council does it. There's a spreadsheet that has the motion, the date it was made, who made it, seconded, approved. And it's not a complicated thing, and I think it would help all of us keep track. And I'm not saying that we have to go back to years and all that.
Let's start moving forward.
Well, it'd be nice to start it maybe from the last couple of months or 3 months. I don't think that would be too cumbersome, Brenda, would you?
Yeah, we know the stuff missing.
Well, I mean, what do you think? I know it's one more
Well, I
thing.
mean, no, I think it's a good tool. I don't.
I mean, I think
agree
it would
with
be
that.
helpful for you too, instead of having.
Let's just think going back, starting in September.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take a stab at it. How's that look?
That,
Very simple.
that is, but Mr. And that happened without motion, yeah.
And I move that we create a spreadsheet listing all motions made retroactive to September 2025 and moving to the future.
Is there a second?
All motions pass. and not
All discussed.
pass.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Who's seconded? I'm sorry. Who's
It was seconded by
seconded? Okay, that's all right.
Mr. Tina Young. Okay, all in favor, say aye. All right, any new business, Ms. Young?
Is it appropriate or can this happen that the chair and the vice chair schedule a meeting with the chair of CRA? Is that appropriate?
For what matter, what purpose?
For the CRA, you two have a meeting with the chair of the CRA to discuss some of this stuff that's happening tonight. Just some of this. And in reference to the line moving, can you do this, can you do that? Is that appropriate and can that happen?
It would have to be, well, number one, it'd be a public meeting. Because you've got more than 2 people there, so you have to publicly notice it. And, you know.
But if only the chair went, you wouldn't
Oh,
have.
no, the vice chair went.
Yeah. There
I
could
think
be
it's the vice chair.
I just think some things.
Yeah, it's the vice chair.
I don't have. Do I schedule that meeting or Frank schedule this meeting?
Well, I don't, is the purpose just you be separately with them without any staff
Yeah.
there?
Yes,
Just talk
You
about.
can call them yourself.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Okay.
somebody can.
Can you do that?
I can.
Thank you, thank you. Right. Anything else on new business before we close it out?
Is that gonna be noted in the new business?
Yes.
Is there no submission?
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I got this sometime. I will write.
Go ahead, sir. You won't be talking, no more. Yeah, 24, we talking.
I was writing my reminder to the CRA. A couple of things, I just have 2 things. First one, last time we had the alleyway presentation, and I forgot the gentleman who was here from the city, the planner. Anyway, they said they were working on language that was going to go into the code and also working in the technical manual. And they were going to provide a new language that was coming from the alleyway study. I haven't seen that. Just wondering if they can send an update on what's going on with the code, the changes to the code.
Anything else, Mr. Rude?
The other thing is, communication with the community. I've gotten emails from neighbors trying to reach the CRA and having difficulties, no callbacks or no, replies back to emails. I just wanted to, and I think it's been resolved. I think they've discussed it with staff and everyone else. I just want to make sure that we are all on the same page, that when, whether it comes to us or it goes to you or to somebody on staff, we have some kind of procedure to respond back to
It said salary board, salary.
I'm sorry, either to the CAC or
So people say,
manager or to CRA staff, not the.
okay, well, I can see how I said it was brilliant.
I
Say.
respond to everybody, because I don't
Say,
know, I don't know
I
this.
only sent it through your spot. But whenever staff is gonna respond back to the community, it kind of like
Makes us look
makes
bad.
it look bad. Same thing with things that are going on. We had, I don't remember getting an email, and if you sent it, it might have gone to my junk mail, but I don't remember getting an email about the housing grants being open.
Yeah.
Neither do I.
So like people are coming and asking me about it, and I'm telling them it's on hold, it's on hold, it's on hold. And they come to find out that it's been open this whole time. So the communication is not there, and I think we need to improve a little bit more on it. To make sure that we know the latest and greatest, and make sure that we can provide the people that we're representing with the latest information as well.
And let me tell you why that's very important. It's particularly our group, we're doing the first group like that. We represent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 neighborhood groups right here. And 2 at large. But that's good. 9 neighborhood groups. We're not individuals, we're representing organizations. And we take information back. That means 9 organizations get miscommunicated to. That's why it's very important, because we disseminate this information when we go back to our constituents, but that's a big difference. Okay, anything else, Mr. Premier? Anyone else in new business before we close that? Okay, we're gonna go to announcements. Anybody got any announcements? But I got all these celebrating right with. Go ahead, Mrs. Abel.
There's a Christmas. Tomorrow night, there is a Christmas tree lighting that is going to be held at, Cohatch, the West Tampa Chamber, and I think this is the first time it's been done in quite a long time. So it's in the parking lot of Cohatch at 20, oh, forgive me, y'all know where Cohatch is on Main Street, the co-working building. It's in the parking lot there at 6 o'clock.
Y'all got a Christmas tree out there?
There should be one there tonight.
Tree up on Main Street since Mobile Square.
Well, it's time to resurrect again.
It'll be a Bobby's Alley in no time.
Yeah.
Anyone else, but read this saying, anyone else? All right, we're gonna go through this real quick. 2901 North Albany, a petition for review, BBE Bars Engineering, the applicant, and says rezoning was NA on that. It says a petition for review, SU 1-2524. 1704 North Lincoln Avenue, lot split, applicant Mavis Demetrius. That's down in front of 1942, 1946, and 1948 West Spruce Street. RS 50 the PD residential single family, applicant John Long. Okay. 2316 West North Beach Street, RS 16 the PD residential single family, send out the tax. Applicants Azam Sheep. Notice of application filed for rezoning, RS 50 plan development, Poseidon 25 developments, they don't, 1008 West LaSalle Street, Tampa, Florida. And the applicant was, James, applicant email. Agent Office, it doesn't help, James Lascott. CG, PD, CG, at 2013 North Highland, by Azam, and Sheep. Yes. All right, that's all. Is anybody have a chance when I close this out? First of all, I want to say to everybody that thanks for putting up with me tonight and run a little more on me. But you understand the frustration in here, because they see that every time that something happens, the city always have to review with the community in November, December. You heard that a lot tonight. Ain't nobody doing nothing in November, December, the things like Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's coming up, and school out, and all that, and on vacation. And well, that's a bad time for the city, we talking about getting public input on anything. In the middle of, from the middle of November to January, it's bad time. But with that said, to close the meeting out, I'm gonna say Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy Hanukkah to everybody. Feliz Navidad to everybody. And Happy New Year 2026. This is, happy Thanksgiving.